Chapter 1. Player Su Yang, welcome to the death game. There are no rules or laws here, everything belongs to the players. The only thing you have to do is to complete the game now. Please draw your own talent. Su Yang slowly opened his eyes, looking confused. Where am I? What is this place? It was pitch black all around, with a white stage light shining down overhead. The only thing he could see was his own shadow. Suddenly, a severe headache accompanied by tinnitus came. Su Yang covered his head with a grim face and gasped violently. He remembered his identity and all his memories. But the only thing I can't remember is, why I came to this strange place. I was lying on the bed watching 10 Deadly Sins, and I fell asleep while watching it. And then I opened my eyes. Su Yang tried hard to recall, and he carefully pondered every detail in his memory. Could it be that this was an organized and premeditated action? The word kidnapping unconsciously emerged in Su Yang's mind. He had every reason to suspect that he was kidnapped here by some organization. His parents were engaged in scientific research. They disappeared mysteriously many years ago. The police failed to find the case and gave him a death certificate. He was raised by his grandparents over the years and lived in good health until he was 20 years old. I am studying at a private university in Donghai City, and my wish is to lie down. If possible, he wanted to find out the truth about his parents' disappearance, so he developed a hobby of reading suspense and detective novels. He loves this type of work very much and has read famous works from home and abroad. Therefore, he speculated that the reason for his coming here was most likely a conspiracy. Please draw your own talent. That emotionless voice came to my ear again. Who's talking? Come out. Su Yang propped up his upper body and shouted. The only response he received was endless darkness and silence. There is no echo, which proves that this place is very empty, maybe a factory-like space. Su Yang frowned. He felt his pocket and found nothing. No, the criminals only took my phone but didn't tie me up. From the perspective of criminal psychology, this does not conform to the logic of a criminal. If he wanted something from me, he should have shown up when he heard the shouting. Did he do this on purpose? Su Yang guessed. Please draw your own talent. Third reminder. Su Yang felt that his headache had eased a lot, so he stood up and walked forward. However, no matter where you go, the spotlight above your head always follows you. Player Su Yang did not make a choice within the time limit, and the talent was automatically drawn. Extracting. Congratulations, you have obtained the talent. Recognize the thief as your father. Recognize the thief as your father. After activation, let other players call Su Yang Dad to control his actions. Duration, 60 minutes, cooling time, 1 minute. What? Su Yang paused, a look of doubt in his eyes. This time he finally found the source of the sound. It is not a broadcast, nor is it a voice made by a person. Instead, it appears out of nowhere in my mind. Am I overthinking? This isn't kidnapping. Su Yang got goosebumps all over his body. In addition to detective books, he has also read other types of novels. If this is a death game, it must be controlled by a supreme being. But why me? Su Yang was puzzled. Talent extraction completed, returning to the cage soon. Damn, talent verification failed, damn, talent verification failed, damn, talent verification failed, talent disorder, regeneration. Congratulations on obtaining the only talent, fraud. After activating the ability, you can perform a fraud action on the players. If half of them believe it, the lie will become the truth. From recognizing a thief as your father to being a fraud. Su Yang felt that the two things were totally unrelated, and what was going on with the talent verification failure. Talent verification successful, you are assigned to cell 213 of cell 881. Return to the cage begins. As soon as he finished speaking, the scene in front of Su Yang changed. The endless darkness gradually turned brighter, as if a hole was torn open in the darkness, revealing its true face. Suddenly, there were bursts of noises in my ears, including screams, cries, and crazy laughter. Who dragged me to this damn place? I don't want to play games, I want to go home. Dad, Mom, where are you? Xiaoan will be obedient and will listen to you from now on. I know I was wrong. Ha ha ha, this is a death game with no rules. You bunch of stinky bugs, I'm going to kill you all of you. Where is this? Su Yang's pupils suddenly shrank. The first thing that caught my eye was the neatly arranged cells next to each other, with iron pillars blocking the exits. Each cage holds a player, and they can see their neighbors through the glass wall. Su Yang was on the second floor. He counted carefully and found that there were 100 cages on each floor of this large square space. Then he came to the iron gate and looked up. The prison cells are stacked one on top of the other like building blocks. There is no top. There are 100 players on each floor. How many people are imprisoned in this prison? Su Yang was shocked. Remaining players, 1002, 341, 4759. Game starts in 10 minutes. More than 10 billion ginsengs? Doesn't that mean everyone in the world is in it? Su Yang was shocked. I thought I was chosen for a special reason, but I didn't expect that everyone was chosen without distinction. Whose plan is this? He didn't have time to analyze, because there were only 10 minutes left before the death game started. Su Yang ignored the noise around him and immediately turned around to look at the internal structure of the prison. The space is 553 in size, with an iron bed with bunk beds, an ordinary square table, and an iron stool. The toilet is located in the southwest corner, with a door curtain hanging above it and a squat toilet inside. In addition, there is a water dispenser and a locker next to it with 3 loaves of bread and 2 bottles of water. Su Yang took out a bottle of water, unscrewed the lid and smelled it, and found that there was no peculiar smell. Take a sip and the taste is no different from the mineral water sold outside. Then he picked up a piece of bread from the cupboard. There was a line of words engraved on the package. Please consume within 3 days, otherwise it will become highly poisonous. The shelf life is only 3 days. Su Yang's heart trembled slightly when he read the second half of the sentence. In the past, he would have taken it as a joke. But now, he is convinced. I was indeed kidnapped and imprisoned. Su Yang sat on the stool, munching on bread, and felt a chill on his buttocks. But it's not just me, people all over the world have been kidnapped. Everyone can draw talents, and it really feels like a progression in the game. In this big game, it seems that there is only one thing I have to do. Survive. About to enter the game, game name, Liar Tavern clearance conditions, survive until the last person clearance points, 100 number of participants in this game, 5. Chapter 2. Welcome to the Liar's Tavern. When Su Yang opened his eyes, he found himself leaving the cage and coming to an unfamiliar area. He looked around and found that this was an old-fashioned tavern with traces of time everywhere. There is a clock hanging on the wall, and the hour hand and minute hand are exactly at 12 o'clock. The old bar, the lingering smell of cigarettes, the pungent smell of alcohol, the strange creatures. In the middle of the tavern was a large round table covered with cracks and stains, and on it were 5 revolvers. The other tables were occupied by monsters with animal heads and human bodies. They were tasting fine wine and simply gave the 5 people who suddenly appeared a scrutinizing look before looking away. Then he continued chatting, speaking a language that Su Yang could not understand. What's that? Oh dear! There was a large window on the left where Su Yang was standing, and the moonlight shining in was radiant with the dim light. There were 5 stools placed in front of him, with 2 people standing on each side. 2 men and 2 women. Including himself, that's exactly the number of people participating in this game. Su Yang took a deep breath, suppressed his surprise, and looked at the players present. The man and woman standing on the left are of similar age, estimated to be around 30 years old. The man had a gentle temperament, wore a pair of ordinary black-framed glasses, had a slightly high hairline, an oily and yellowish complexion, and heavy dark circles under his eyes. The woman was wearing cartoon pajamas, with fear and helplessness about the unknown on her face. Her hands were tightly grasping the back of the stool, with veins exposed. The man and woman on the right were relatively calm, but the slight twitching of their eyes still betrayed their inner thoughts. Only one person can survive. Su Yang frowned. In other words, one of the 4 people present will have his head blown up by the revolver placed on the table. The 5 of them were looking at each other, and no one spoke. Although Su Yang is not omniscient and omnipotent, he can guess everyone's mental state from their facial expressions and reactions. At this time, a creature with a bull's head and a human body came to the table with a deck of playing cards and slowly placed the cards in the center of the round table. Then it stood aside, with its arms folded across its chest and its eyes looking forward. It seems that the game will not start until all 5 players are in place. Su Yang's talent is fraud, and he needs to rely on this talent to win the game. The other 4 people also have talents, but I don't know the specifics, so it's better to be cautious. Su Yang continued to remain silent. 2 minutes later, the woman in cartoon pajamas broke the silence first. Do you know what's going on? Why are we playing this meaningless game? Can't we all survive if we don't play? The man on the left raised his black-framed glasses and said, based on the current situation, everyone in the world has been teleported to the game. This should be some kind of curse, or some kind of reshuffle. Shuffle, the woman on the right asked curiously. That's right. This situation cannot be explained by normal logic. All of us have been thrown into prison, which is an incredible thing in itself. The man with glasses nodded. Which prison are you in? I'm in No 881, asked the big man on the right. I'm also in cage number 881. My cell number is 1284. The woman in cartoon pajamas answered first. Same, I'm in cage number 5666. The beautiful woman on the right nodded. Me too, but I'm on the first floor, room 108, said the man with glasses. Su Yang listened silently and collected information. From what has been said so far, this prison has at least 50 floors. There are 100 players on each floor, which means at least 5,000 people are imprisoned. Each floor is 3 meters high, so this prison is at least 150 meters. There are 25 cages in each direction, each one is 5 meters long and 5 meters wide, which means the total length and width is 125 meters. It takes time to build such a large building, and it is obviously impractical to use it specifically to detain prisoners and play games. Then, the four of them looked at Su Yang together with doubt in their eyes. Number 213. Su Yang said. It seems that this game recruits players from prisons. The man with glasses nodded slightly, his eyes stayed on the beautiful woman for a while, then looked away and said, You must have heard of or watched TV shows or movies about battle royale or death games, right? No. The woman in pajamas shook her head. I've played battle royale games, but I've never heard of the death game you're talking about. A hint of murderous intent flashed in the big man's eyes. He seemed to remember some things before coming here. If there weren't beings like gods behind the scenes manipulating this, there's no way we would be collectively teleported to a large building like a prison. The man with glasses wiped the oil off his nose and wiped his hand on his trouser leg. Whether he is a god or not, we have to continue playing this game, right? The beautiful woman saw his actions, a hint of disgust and hatred flashed in her eyes, and she said softly, Whether it's true or not, won't you know after playing it once? The pajamas girl looked timidly at the other woman present and whispered, I don't want to play games, I just want to go home. The big man rushed forward upon hearing this, sat down on the stool, and slammed the table hard. FK off, I've had enough of that shitty world. I'm going to die if I owe 800,000 yuan from stock trading, so I might as well play some games. As soon as these words were spoken, the field fell into silence. The big man's fierce temperament was out of tune with everyone present, and no one knew what he did for a living outside. I don't even know whether what he said about owing money from stock trading is true or not. The man with glasses clenched his fists, followed his example, pulled out a stool and sat down without saying a word. Seeing this, the big man snorted and looked at Su Yang. And you? Su Yang's eyes met his, and after staring at each other for a while, he chose to sit in the seat closest to him. What about you two? Do you want to play or not? You're just sissy. The big man said a little impatiently. The beautiful girl gently brushed her hair behind her ears and sat on the right side of the big man. The remaining women in pajamas were a little scared, and tears came out of their eyes after being treated so fiercely by the big man. I don't want to play. After saying that, the woman in pajamas immediately ran out the door. She wanted to escape from this haunted place. However, as soon as she stepped over the threshold, a force suddenly bounced her back and she hit the wall hard. Those who escape from the death game space will die. This was the first and only warning. If you do it again next time, you will be wiped out. Is it okay that I don't want to play? I just want to go home. The girl in pajamas said in a crying voice. Go back to your mother. The big man couldn't bear it any longer, so he stood up and walked to her side, dragging her by her clothes all the way to the last seat. Let me go, UBD, don't touch me with your dirty hands. The woman in pajamas kept struggling, her nails scratching his arms, leaving bloody marks. Bang! The big man slapped her in the face and said viciously, If you want to die, go ahead, but don't hurt me. The woman in pajamas was stunned. She sat there in a daze, with despair all over her face. When the big man returned to his seat, all 5 of them were seated. Game rules: players take turns to play cards and declare the card value, which must match the requirements before the start of the game. such as king or queen, 25 cards per round, 7 QS, queens, 7 KS, kings, 7 aces, and 4 jokers. A total of 26 cards. Each player is dealt 5 cards per round, and the joker can be used as any card. Players can play at least 1 card and at most 3 cards per round. When players play cards, they may lie about the value of the cards. If you suspect they are lying, you can open the cards. If someone is caught and indeed lied, they have to play a round of Russian roulette. After playing Russian roulette, the board will be reset and the game will continue. Time limit for each player to play cards each round, 5 minutes. Chapter 3. The 5 people were reminded of the rules of the game in their minds. They read it over and over again, and their faces changed. The man with glasses looked slightly gloomy and subconsciously raised his glasses. The woman in pajamas remained calm, seemingly still immersed in the after effects of the slap just now. The beautiful girl touched her hair and looked very unnatural. The big man frowned, as if he didn't understand the rules of the game. Interesting rules. Su Yang nodded silently. It was the first time he realized that card games could be played like this. FK, I thought it was poker, what bullshit rules are there? The big man snorted coldly and couldn't help but curse. Everyone has a revolver on the table, and the revolver should have been reset. The loser has to shoot himself in the head, right? Asked the beautiful woman. The man with glasses nodded and said, from the perspective of the rules, it is indeed the case, but I don't know which hole the only bullet is in. As soon as the words fell, the scene fell silent again. Obviously, this game of death is full of unknowns. You never know which will come first, tomorrow or an accident. If you are unlucky and the first bullet is already loaded, the outcome will be death if you lose. Death is eternity, there is no regret. There is no so-called resurrection. Therefore, this death game is not only about psychology and courage, but also about life. There are only 2 identities in the tavern. The cheater and the deceived. The big man read the rules carefully and licked his lips. Come on, I'm unlucky in stocks, but I've never lost at cards. The man with glasses moved his butt uncomfortably. Why don't we each give our information? My name is Lu Ming, and I'm from Luoyang. The big man said, Zhao San, just call me Lao San, my hometown is Pingyang. Beautiful woman, Guo Xiaoun, Lin Xi. Suyang, East Sea. After waiting for a long time, the woman in pajamas didn't reply. Zhao Sanyi slammed the table with a loud noise. Hey, what's your name? Are you mute? The pajamas woman came back to her senses, her eyes full of timidity, and whispered, Yun Pei, Xiang Zhang. Speak louder, damn it. Your voice is as soft as a mosquito. If we were outside, I would beat you to death. Zhao San leaned on the stool, looking at Yun Pei wantonly. Zhao San went from being nervous at the beginning to being somewhat adapted now, and his style and nature are slowly revealed. Although Yun Pei was wearing loose pajamas, her curvy figure was hard to hide, and her gentle and lovely face had a pitiful temperament. Zhao San likes him very much. He liked girls who looked weak and fragile, and he wanted to rush up to her and press her against the wall and beat her up. Listen to the scream coming out of her cherry mouth. Hee hee. Zhao San smiled evilly, his eyes full of greed. Yun Pei still couldn't forget the force of that slap. She didn't dare to look him in the eye and stared at the table. Soon, a creature with a bull's head and a human's body flipped out a card from the top and placed it in the middle of the table. This is the Queen of Hearts. Then, starting with Guo Xiaoun, a card was dealt to Zhao San, Su Yang, Yun Pei, and Lu Ming in clockwise order. Until everyone has 5. The moment they got the cards, everyone took them in their hands and took a look at them. The cards in Su Yang's hand are 2 QS, 1 Joker, and 2 KS, 3 valid cards. Excluding the 3 cards in his hand, there are 8 valid cards left. According to probability distribution, each person gets 2 cards. Of course, this is just an expectation. If someone is lucky enough and has 5 valid cards in his hand, then the other 3 people can only share the remaining 3. If you are unlucky, you may not even get 1. This game is very much based on luck, and of course, gambling also plays a large part. Lu Ming slowly folded the cards, looked at the expressions of the other 4 people, and the corners of his mouth rose slightly. Guo Xiaoun still had no expression on her face. Perhaps it was because of her job outside, she was very good at disguising herself. Yun Pei wrote the face of the card on her face, her lips moving as if she was silently reciting her own card pattern. Damn it, how am I going to play with such bad cards? Zhao San cursed and turned the 5 cards upside down on the table. No one spoke at this time. Without knowing the cards of others, words were just signals. Maybe Zhao San was playing hard to get, or maybe it was really so. No one dares to believe blindly. Because if they lose, they will need to pick up the revolver and point it at their own heads and pull the trigger. At this time, a group of creatures with animal heads and human bodies surrounded them, and there were 2 people standing behind each of them. Su Yang has been paying attention to everyone's expressions and little movements from the beginning to now. Among them, Guo Xiaoyun touched her hair 4 times, Lu Ming raised his glasses 3 times, and Yun Pai Pei frowned 5 times. Zhao Sanda was very carefree. Apart from turning the cards upside down on the table, he did not make any extra movements. Everyone has talents and skills, but each talent and skill has prerequisites for activation. For example, in the case of fraud, he needs half of the people present to believe it before what he says can come true. At present, Su Yang does not know the talents of any of them, and similarly, they do not know Su Yang's trump card. Therefore, these strange creatures speaking an incomprehensible language suddenly surrounded them. It's definitely not a coincidence. Someone must have quietly activated the skill. Who could it be? Su Yang looked around at their faces and found nothing unusual. Except for Yun Pai Pei, who was as nervous as ever, the other 3 looked normal. We are going to play Q, right? Who should start first? Lu Ming asked. At this moment, an illusory arrow suddenly appeared in the center of the table, aiming at Guo Xiaoyun. Immediately, the clock on the wall began to move, starting from 12 o'clock, and the minute hand slowly moved clockwise. Each player has a 5-minute limit per round. The countdown begins. I go first. Guo Xiaoyun threw a card without changing his expression, a queen. After Guo Xiaoyun finished playing her cards, the pointer on the table turned clockwise and pointed to Zhao San on Su Yang's right. Just one? Is it the real queen? Zhao San raised his lips and asked tentatively. Guess? What if it's fake? Guo Xiaoyun showed a charming smile, captivating everyone. When people say this, it usually implies get me out of here quickly. There was an obvious hint of inducement in the words. Of course, it is also possible that Guo Xiaoyun is bluffing and doing the opposite. He did this on purpose to scare Zhao San. Do you think I don't dare to open it? Zhao San sneered, I don't have much else, but I am full of courage. I'll drive. As he said this, he hammered the table and turned over the card that Guo Xiaoyun had dealt. AK. How dare you open this? Guo Xiaoyun's face suddenly turned pale, his eyes full of disbelief. What's there to be afraid of? My eyes are like a ruler. I can tell what's true or false at a glance. Zhao San won the first round and laughed. FKU, I will never let you go. Guo Xiaoyun grabbed the revolver uncontrollably and pointed it at her temple. Her face was hideous, her originally delicate features were distorted, and her eyes were filled with resentment and anger. And with a strong sense of fear. Who are you trying to scare, BCH? I'm your subordinate, when will it be your turn to fire me? Zhao San said proudly. He tasted the thrill of the death game for the first time, and his body trembled with excitement. This kind of link that makes others fall into despair is so exciting. The 4 of them watched Guo Xiaoyun close his eyes, pray silently, and clench his teeth tightly. At this moment, she is the most devout believer of God. Go to hell. Zhao San stared at Guo Xiaoyun's head, expecting the scene of being pierced by a bullet. Click. The moment the voice sounded, everyone's heart, including Su Yang's, skipped a beat. Guo Xiaoyun pulled the trigger, but no bullet was fired. She let out a long sigh of relief, her dress already soaked with cold sweat, and she collapsed on the table like a deflated ball. Zhao San, you are dead. Guo Xiaoyun had just been through hell, and his eyes were full of murderous intent. Chapter 4. Zhao San said unhappily, whether you live or die depends on your ability. You are welcome to do anything to me anytime. But you're lucky, you're not dead. After saying that, Zhao San burst into laughter, making Guo Xiaoyun so angry that her body trembled and her teeth clenched. She had just nearly died. This feeling is like brushing past death. When the cold barrel was pointed at her head, she could even smell the metallic smell of the revolver. From the time she picked up the gun to the time she pulled the trigger, she felt extremely tormented, as if it were a trial. Go on. Lu Ming put away the cards and threw them all to the center of the table. After doing this, he relaxed his tense shoulders with a sense of relief. Su Yang saw all of this. It is not difficult to see that Lu Ming's cards are very bad, and he has only one valid card in his hand at most. But he was lucky because Guo Xiaoyun was the first person to play a card. The players take turns to play cards in a clockwise direction, and the last one to play is him. Generally speaking, people who are new to the game will be more cautious and will not blindly open the cards if they are not absolutely sure or confident. Guo Xiaoyun only played one card in the first round, analyzing it from the perspective of a novice's psychology. The probability of playing a valid card is very high. Aims to be stable. As long as she can play her cards safely, once Zhao San plays his cards, the rest of the time will be a game between the other four people. Guo Xiaoyun can get herself out of this trouble. The safety factor can be increased by 1 point. But I never thought that Zhao San would open his cards so decisively. And precision-guided. Could it be, that he can see through Guo Xiaoyun's psychology? Su Yang thought to himself. He guessed that Zhao San must have activated his talent in the first round and accurately caught the lying player. What exactly is his talent? Su Yang carefully sorted out the details on the field. Zhao San acted fierce from the beginning and brought up the matter of his debt. Of course, these cannot be used as conditions for activating skills. Because the game hadn't started yet. When the game started, he first insulted Yun Pepe verbally, and then said that it was impossible to play. Is the key point about speaking? Su Yang glanced at the dealer. The NPC with a bull's head and a human body gathered the cards together and shuffled them 3 times. Then, following the first round, turn over a card from the top and place it in the center of the table. It's still a queen. The queen again? I hope this time my luck isn't as bad as the last time. Zhao San shook his head. The other 4 said nothing and waited for the cards to be dealt. After 5 playing cards were dealt, Su Yang took the cards in his hand and took a look at them. 2 QS, 1 A, and 2 KS. My luck is average. After reading it, Su Yang folded the cards and turned his gaze to Guo Xiaoyun. Because the arrow on the table was pointing at her. I am the first to play a card again. Guo Xiaoyun glared at him, took out 3 cards and threw them on the table, saying angrily, I will play 3 cards. Zhao San, if you are a man, open it. In the last round, she almost lost her life when Zhao San opened her cards, so it was reasonable for her to want revenge this time. Zhao San looked at her slightly distorted face with a playful look, come closer, I'll show you what a man is. Guo Xiaoyun spat and sneered, if you don't dare to open it, just say it. Look at your cowardly look. No wonder you lose money in stock trading. You use such a low-level provocation, do you think I will be fooled? How could Zhao San not see her intention? If this was just an ordinary online game, it would just be opened. It's harmless. But this is a death game. If you lose, you don't lose money, you lose your life. He was furious at being hit in a sore spot, but he didn't lose his temper. Zhao San threw out 2 playing cards and looked at Su Yang with sharp eyes, it's your turn, pretty boy. Compared with the greasy-haired Lu Ming and the rough Zhao San, Su Yang can indeed be called a pretty boy. He has a high nose bridge, fair skin, sharp features and a model-like figure and face. It's easy to make people feel good. A queen. Su Yang threw out an ace. Little sister, he is lying to you. Zhao San shifted his gaze away from Su Yang and looked at Yun Pepe. Yun Pepe was suddenly at a loss. She looked at the cards in her hand, then at the cards on the table, undecided. He wants to play the old woman's trick, can't you see it? If you don't open it, Lu Ming will not let you go later. Zhao San had a sinister smile on his face. FKU, who is the old woman? Guo Xiaoyun cursed. Can I drive? Yun Pepe was a little moved by what she said, and looked at Su Yang timidly, as if seeking advice. Of course, you can open it if you want. Su Yang smiled slightly, his expression normal. Since Su Yang knew that he had played an invalid card, he could not reveal any flaws. Although Yun Pepe looks naive and like a harmless sheep. But Su Yang cannot let his guard down. He had a feeling that someone would be harassing him, but he didn't expect that person to be Zhao San. How does he know that the card I played is invalid? Su Yang thought to himself. Is the talent activated again? No, the talent has a cooldown time, it's not that fast. 5 minutes are almost up, fire him. Zhao San's voice suddenly rose octaves. Don't listen to him, do as you wish. Guo Xiaoyun sang a different tune. Yun Pei was so anxious that she almost cried. She didn't know what to do. I'll play 2 queens. As she said this, she threw the cards away and shrank back onto the stool, hugging her knees with her hands. What a waste! Zhao Sanda was disappointed and spat on the ground. Lu Ming thought for a while, raised his glasses, and said, I'll also play 2 queens. After a cycle, the pointer points to Guo Xiaoyun again. Handsome boy, tell me, are the cards you played valid? Guo Xiaoyun's voice was coquettish and full of charm. I can't tell you. Lu Ming moved his butt to the right, looking nervous. Haha. Guo Xiaoyun laughed so hard that her body shook. She threw out a card, a queen. Are there so many queens? Are you holding 4 in your hand? Zhao San saw that she looked indifferent and was a little hesitant. Guess. Guo Xiaoyun raised the corners of his mouth, looking mysterious. Zhao San suddenly couldn't figure out this crazy woman, so he had to be careful now. So what if you draw 4 cards? Do you think you are the only one who has a queen? Zhao San looked at the remaining 3 cards in his hand. However, as soon as his eyes fell, his pupils suddenly shrank. This reaction only lasted for a moment and soon returned to normal. But Su Yang still caught this change. It is known that 11 cards have been played on the field. Excluding the invalid card played by Su Yang himself, he still has 2 valid cards in his hand. Assuming that both Guo Xiaoyun and Yun Pei played valid cards, with a total of 11 valid cards, the other 3 people only have 3 valid cards left in their hands. His eyes changed. Su Yang suddenly found that the game became interesting. Time passed by minute, and Zhao San still didn't play any cards. At this moment, he screamed hysterically in his heart, how is it possible? Why did my cards change? He clearly held a queen, but he played 2 invalid cards in the first round. This round, I planned to play effective cards and trick Su Yang. But now it was as if a ghost had appeared, and the only valid card in his hand disappeared. Instead, there is AK. What are you waiting for? The 5 minutes are almost up. If you don't play your cards, it will be considered as you opening my cards. Guo Xiaoyun urged him when she saw that he was hesitant to move. Chapter 5. Stop making noise, I'm thinking. Zhao San said impatiently. What are you thinking about? Are you afraid that Brother Su Yang will fire you? Guo Xiaoyun's eyes flickered, as if she saw through his inner thoughts. Or do you mean you don't even have a queen left? Zhao San's heart sank when he heard this, but he remained expressionless on the surface. What nonsense are you talking about, old woman? If I didn't have one, why would it take so long? Zhao San said coldly. Then why don't you come out? Why are you hesitating? Guo Xiaoyun realized that she had guessed it right. Zhao San looked back at the clock and found that he only had 30 seconds left to play a card. He has been wondering who activated the talent. The cards in my hand disappeared, this is definitely not a mistake. Someone is behind this. A queen. Zhao San tried to stay calm and threw the cards out as usual. Open. Su Yang opened the cards without hesitation. I turned over the cards and saw that, as expected, it was an invalid card. AK. FK. Zhao San slammed the table with both hands and glared at Su Yang, how dare you fire me? Do you want to die? Zhao San, are you crazy? Doesn't the rule say that you can't be fired? Guo Xiaoyun stood up to speak for Su Yang. Shut up, old woman. Zhao San said angrily. Take the bullet. Guo Xiaoyun was in high spirits after getting his revenge. After a while, Zhao San's hand uncontrollably picked up the revolver and pointed it at his temple. I saw this 50+ meter tall, burly man's lips trembling constantly and his face turned pale. Don't hit me, don't hit me. Even the most ruthless person will feel fear when facing execution. Kill him. Guo Xiaoyun looked furious. Click. The gunshot did not go off. Zhao San kept gasping for breath, licked his dry lips, and then showed a triumphant smile. It seems that God doesn't want to take me away. What bad luck. Guo Xiaoyun said angrily. After a while, Zhao San tried to suppress his palpitations and scanned the 4 people like an eagle. Who of you was messing with me just now? Don't you want to live, really? Su Yang guessed that someone had activated his talent, and the target was Zhao San. He had a grudge against Guo Xiaoyun, so this was a good time to activate his skills. Zhao San suddenly looked at Su Yang, who was deep in thought, and said with a sinister smile, "It's you, right? Pretty boy." "No." Su Yang shook his head. "You like this old woman and want to help her get revenge." Zhao San's face became increasingly gloomy. "Brother Su Yang, ignore this mad dog." Guo Xiaoyun threw a coquettish glance at Su Yang. "Just wait for me, none of you want to get out of here alive," Zhao San said fiercely. When he said this, Su Yang realized that this death game had officially begun. As for the person who activated the skill, he guessed it was one of Lu Ming and Yun Paipei. First of all, Zhao San's eyes changed when he looked at the cards, so there must have been changes in the cards. As Zhao San's superior and Lu Ming's subordinate, Guo Xiaoyun could have activated his talent in the first round. No need to wait till the second round. After all, if the two of them leave their turns, there will be variables. For example, Yun Paipei may think that Su Yang is lying, and Lu Ming may also think that the previous player is lying. It is activated at the end of the first round, which means that the person who activates the talent has finished playing his cards and triggered the prerequisites. Is it Yun Paipei? Or Lu Ming? Su Yang looked at the faces of the two and found that one of them was still hugging his knees, motionless. The other one was staring at the clock on the wall, seemingly checking the time. The third round begins, and the valid card for this round is Ace. Su Yang took the 5 cards in his hand and took a look, and found that there were 1 A, 2 Jokers, 1 Q, and 1 K. Just as he put the cards together, the creature with a rabbit head and a human body behind him on the right suddenly moved. Su Yang noticed something unusual and the cards in his hand tilted to the left. At this time, the creature also took 2 steps to the left, trying to see the cards clearly. So that's how it is. Su Yang understood and glanced at Zhao San beside him. At this time, he had just finished looking at the cards, and he flipped them down on the table with one hand. He finally understood why Guo Xiaoyun lost. Su Yang folded the cards and slowly placed them on the table. It was too late for him to hide now, as the cards had already been seen through. Therefore, there is no need to do unnecessary actions. Of course, before that, he wanted to test it out. Zhao San's mouth twitched, but he quickly suppressed it and said loudly, "I'll go first, 2 aces." "2 more, brother Su Yang, he might be lying to you," Guo Xiaoyun reminded. "What's it got to do with you?" "Shut up," Zhao San said dissatisfiedly. "Everyone has the right to speak, why can't I speak?" Guo Xiaoyun's voice was a little shrill. "If you keep yelling at me, I'll shoot you." "Come on, am I afraid of you?" While the two were bickering, Su Yang quickly changed the position of the cards and then threw out 2 more cards, 2 aces. Zhao San turned around, looked at the cards in front of Su Yang, and said loudly, "Open him." He played 2 fake cards. His tone was very firm, as if he was the person involved. Lu Ming frowned, "How do you know that his answer is fake? I remember you said the same thing in the last round. Why do you care so much? Just keep an eye on your own cards and stop talking nonsense." Zhao San evaded the question and looked at Yun Paipei. "Didn't you hear me? I told you to fire him." After these words were spoken, the other 4 people fell silent. Even Guo Xiaoyun, who was at odds with Zhao San, said nothing and looked at Yun Paipei. The atmosphere became very delicate and everyone was waiting for her decision. Yun Paipei slowly put her legs down and glanced at Su Yang, "Can I drive you?" "Whatever." Su Yang still smiled. "Appears exceptionally calm." Zhao San was furious. He had just been tricked by Su Yang once, so how could he let go of this godsend opportunity? "Don't be fooled by this pretty boy. If you don't want to die, drive quickly." As soon as the word death was mentioned, it seemed to touch a switch in Yun Paipei. She gritted her teeth and said, "Turn on." Hearing this, Zhao San laughed triumphantly, "Boy, you're dead. You are still a little naive to dare to go against me." Su Yang watched Yun Paipei turn over the 2 cards unhurriedly. However, the result shocked everyone. There were 2 jokers lying on the table. Joker is equivalent to lazy, and can be transformed into any card. The valid card for this round is A, which means Su Yang played 2 A's. Yun Pi lost. "Impossible, I clearly saw it, this is impossible." Zhao San widened his eyes, his face full of confusion. "It seems that my guess is correct. Your talent allows you to use NPC to peek into other people's cards," Su Yang said lightly. You knew it a long time ago. Zhao San's face changed. He prided himself on hiding it very well and not revealing any flaws. No, I just found out. Su Yang curled his lips slightly. Then why do you? You want to know why the cards I dealt are different from what you saw? Su Yang raised his eyelids slightly and said calmly, actually, my talent is magic. I can make anything I want. Fraud talent activated, it was like a bombshell, setting off a huge wave. Chapter 6. Magic. As the name suggests, extraordinary means. In the public's perception, this kind of magic-like method is mysterious. In areas where education is relatively backward, it is even called witchcraft. As the internet becomes more and more developed, the secrets behind magic are gradually revealed. People no longer blindly believe in this technique. But now, Su Yang directly revealed his talent, which shocked everyone. The first reaction was disbelief. Magic is all a lie. Do you think I will believe it? Lu Ming raised his head slightly, and his lenses reflected a mirror-like luster under the dim light. You can transform something into something you want. Where in the world can you find such a great talent? Turn it into a piece of gold and show me. Zhao San also didn't believe it. Guo Xiaoyun tilted her head and looked at the confident Su Yang, wondering what was in her mind. Talent is everyone's secret. It is also the key to winning this game. Su Yang told everything, but of course no one believed him. Who would reveal their cards so early? If you have the talent to attach perspective to NPCs, why don't you have magic? Su Yang looked at Zhao San and asked with a smile. You? Zhao San's face changed drastically when his talent was seen through. Just as he was about to fight back angrily, he suddenly noticed that a revolver had been raised. Yun Paipei's pretty face turned pale, tears streaming down her face like raindrops. I don't want to die, I don't want to die. Can anyone save me? She was the only weak girl on the field. It is easy to arouse a man's desire to protect. However, the three men present chose to remain silent. These are the rules of the game and no one else can interfere. No one will go to rescue you, after all, the condition for passing the level is to survive until the last person. If I save you, who will save me? Yun Paipei was extremely desperate, and her cries could be heard throughout the tavern. Looking at her tearful appearance, Su Yang sighed inwardly, this is indeed the cruelest game in the world. No one. Click. There was still no gunfire, and everyone who heard the noise breathed a sigh of relief. An indescribable emotion arose in my heart. Maybe he didn't want to see the bloody scene of a beautiful woman's death, or maybe he wanted to put himself in the shoes of the character who was about to be executed. I don't want to play games anymore, I really don't want to play anymore. Yun Paipei covered her face and cried, her pajamas sleeves soaked with tears. Cry, cry, cry. All you do is cry. If you don't want to play, just die. Zhao San was annoyed and suddenly looked at Su Yang. You haven't told me yet, why do you know my talent? Of course I figured it out through analysis. Su Yang smiled and continued, do you remember the first round? When the cards were just being dealt, all these NPCs surrounded us. So what? Lu Ming moved closer to the table, looking serious. At that time, I was still wondering, why did these NPCs come over when we couldn't understand the language they spoke? Su Yang said. What does this prove? Would you not watch the movie just because you can't understand Japanese? Zhao San sneered. Although Zhao San's metaphor was crude, Guo Xiaoyun and Lu Ming looked at each other and saw recognition in each other's eyes. Indeed, this doesn't mean anything. Yes, they can watch the show with a mentality of watching a show. Su Yang nodded slightly, but, I first discovered the clues when Zhao San opened the cards in the first round. Without having played this kind of game before, everyone wants to play it safe. If you are not absolutely sure, who dares to open the cards casually? For novice players, including myself, the first thing that comes to mind is to play effective cards and pass the turn to others in order to protect ourselves. It's possible that someone with great skills may be bold, but your performance in the second round was not like that, which is enough to explain a problem. Su Yang paused and looked at Guo Xiaoyun, whose eyes were gradually becoming clearer. Obviously, these words touched her heart. The moment Zhao San opened his cards, he was so confident that he gave people a feeling that everything was under control. What's the problem? Lu Ming asked anxiously. He clearly understands Guo Xiaoyun's hand and knows what cards she has played. Su Yang tapped the table lightly with his fingertips. Is it not okay that I am just brave? Zhao San did not admit it. I first thought about this question. Could it be that a blind cat has encountered a dead mouse? Su Yang propped his elbows on the table. But nothing similar happened in the second round. Zhao San's confidence and calmness turned into panic. Someone is trying to trick me, I'd better not catch him. Zhao San snorted coldly. Su Yang did not respond, but said, if I had this ability, the first thing I would do would be to attack first, rather than passively defend. Zhao San was the next player twice in the second round, but he didn't open it once. Let's assume that Guo Xiaoyun is lucky. What about the third round? Lu Ming frowned and asked in confusion, Yun Paipei lost the third round. That's right, but I lost because of Zhao San's instigation. Su Yang nodded. You mean, Zhao San is targeting Yun Paipei? Guo Xiaoyun smelled a hint of conspiracy. No, on the contrary, he wants to help Yun Paipei kill me. Su Yang glanced at Yun Paipei, who had not yet recovered from the aftermath of the shock. Zhao San's thoughts were revealed, but he was not angry. Stop talking nonsense. Where's the evidence? Su Yang smiled and said, I discovered something interesting at the beginning of the third round. The NPCs behind me will move as the direction of my cards changes. They seem like conscious creatures who really want to see the cards I have this round. Remember what I just said? After Guo Xiaoyun played the third round, Zhao San did not choose to open the cards. Instead, he pointed the finger at me. There is only one reason. Guo Xiaoyun played a valid card this round. In an instant, many eyes turned to the real owner. Guo Xiaoyun nodded and said, yes, the cards I played are indeed effective. Su Yang smiled even more, if I were Zhao San, I would definitely not choose to open the card if I knew the previous player had played a valid card. But what if the next player plays an invalid card? I can't open it, what will I do? Lu Ming immediately understood, instigate your next employer to fire you. Bingo! Su Yang snapped his fingers. Am I right, Zhao San? Zhao San's underwear was seen through, and his face was extremely gloomy. I clearly saw you play 2 invalid cards, why did you open 2 jokers? He admitted it. Lu Ming and Guo Xiaoyun were shocked. They both noticed the NPC's movements and had their doubts. Especially Guo Xiaoyun, she guessed that Zhao Yun had a way to see through her hands. As for Lu Ming, he didn't even think about Zhao San, because there weren't many turns left for him, and he couldn't see the whole situation from where he was sitting. It's very simple. Let's go back to what I said at the beginning. My talent is magic. I can conjure up anything I want. Su Yang spoke slowly. Impossible. Zhao San's face was full of disbelief. There are only 26 cards in total. 25 were given to us, leaving 1 as an eye. How can you change it? The 4 of them nodded secretly after hearing this. If they could change the cards at will, it would be a violation of the rules of the game itself. This doesn't make sense. Of course it's impossible to change the cards, but what if I just change the position of the cards? Su Yang grinned. Zhao San suddenly realized and said angrily, you cheated me. Su Yang said calmly, in this game, there are only cheaters and deceived people. You can peek at my cards, so what's wrong with me cheating you once? Fraud talent is activated successfully, you get a new talent, magic, if the rules allow, conjure up whatever you want, activation condition, snap your fingers, cooldown time, 10 minutes. Chapter 7. When Zhao San said you cheated me, combined with the previous reasoning, Guo Xiaoyun nodded secretly. There are 5 people on the field, including Guo Xiaoyun and Zhao San, who both believe in it, plus the talented initiator Su Yang. 3 votes to 2. More than half. As a qualified fraudster, he must meet 2 conditions when telling lies in order to convince others. The first is self-confidence and composure, and the second is a sense of conviction. Just like actors, they can play clappers and sing tuneless and exaggerated songs in a cafe without caring about what others think. This is a sense of conviction. If he doesn't even believe in himself, how can he deceive others? Of course, Lu Ming and Yun Paipei were both skeptical about this. They both think that this talent is too buggy and can easily affect the rules and balance of the game. But questioning is useless because the lie has become the truth. Zhao San calmed down quickly after his anger, and said, what if you guessed my talent? You still can't change the fact that I saw your cards. Besides, your magic talent is too useless. When the number of cards is fixed, you can't perform anything. As soon as the words fell, Lu Ming and his companions felt a pang in their hearts. The NPC always stands behind them and can move around at will. Even if they want to cover one side and hide it with the other hand, it is difficult to avoid having their cards seen. Facing the contempt, Su Yang just smiled and said, "It's very simple, we just need to get rid of one person, then we can use our talent, right? Boy, you are more arrogant than me. Aren't you afraid that the four of us will join forces to kill you first?" Zhao San said in a threatening tone. "Of course there is no problem, provided Yun Pei is willing to take the risk." Su Yang looked at her and asked, "Are you willing to be used as a gun?" Yun Pei's expression kept changing. She bit her lips lightly and said nothing. From her expression, we can tell that she doesn't want to be a bad person. I am even more unwilling to be manipulated. What if they fail to harm Su Yang but harm themselves? The third round is a typical example. Seeing this, Su Yang suddenly smiled with relief. He dared to openly disclose his magic talent to the public and analyze it. It's just to make people believe in themselves. This talent is indeed superb and abnormal. But he is not worried about being targeted at all, because human nature is the most difficult to guess. Likewise, it is also very easy to swing. Girls with Yun Pei's personality, once they suffer a loss, will never trust others a second time. The scene remained silent until the NPC dealt the cards. Everyone has his own ulterior motives, thinking of ways to kill the previous or next player. If one more person dies, their respective survival rates will increase by 1 point. Su Yang's words were simple and straightforward. But that's what everyone wants to do. The whole card this time is K. Su Yang picked up 5 cards and took a look. 3 QS, an A, and a Joker. Very bad luck. But he was not worried, because the word magic had already been ingrained in their minds. He was not worried that Zhao San would peek at his cards, as there was a cooldown time for activating his talent. He just activated the last round, so this round must still be on CD. But the others became extremely cautious. For example, Lu Ming almost shrunk his head under the table, covering the cards tightly, leaving only a crack. Afraid of being seen by NPC. Play your cards quickly, don't waste time. Zhao San urged impatiently. Yun Pei grabbed 2 cards and hesitated for a moment before drawing another one and placing it on the table. 3 kings. 3. This move shocked the 4 people. They didn't expect that Yun Pei, who was timid before, would suddenly become so brave. Could it be that I have 5 valid cards in my hand? This is what Lu Ming guessed. His hand was not good, so there must be a lot of valid cards out there. So he chose not to open it, but raised his glasses to think about it. After a moment, a card was thrown out. A king. Just one? It's so reliable, it should be true, right? Guo Xiaoyun looked at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes. It seemed as if he wanted to see through him. Lu Ming said nothing, just looked ahead quietly. Then sister, please also play a king card. Guo Xiaoyun took out a card with a sweet smile and put it on the table. Just as the cards were about to fall on the table, she caught a glimpse of a corner of the cards and her face changed drastically. Wait, let me change it. Guo Xiaoyun wanted to pick up the card eagerly, but the card was like a magnet, sticking tightly to the table. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't move at all. Everyone was curious about her strange behavior. The calmness that Guo Xiaoyun displayed before made everyone not think that the cards were played wrong. But now it's the opposite. Did I see it wrong? Su Yang thought. Guo Xiaoyun was very anxious. Why can't I pick it up? I don't want to use this one, I want to change it. Zhao San twisted his mouth and said, are you acting? Are you trying to trick me into driving? Guo Xiaoyun came up with a plan after hearing this. Rather than showing her ugliness, she might as well take advantage of the situation. Then she lay back and said indifferently, do you dare to open it? He seemed calm on the surface, but he was extremely nervous inside. She remembered that the card on the far left was the king, so why did it become the queen when it was played? It's too late to regret. This game does not have an option called undo. So she had no choice but to give up and try to get away with it. You want to cheat me too? Zhao San's face was uncertain. He was a little unsure of what this woman was thinking. It was true that she appeared to be panicking, but that might have been an illusion. If the card turned out to be a king, wouldn't that mean you'd be shot again? Zhao San has already fired a shot. If he loses another round, even if he is lucky enough not to die, his tolerance for error will plummet. Can't you read the cards? Then you must know what I'm going to play. Guo Xiaoyun pretended to be calm, but his heart almost jumped out of his chest. You seem to be in a hurry. Zhao San narrowed his eyes. If you're a man, open it. Don't let me look down on you. Guo Xiaoyun said sternly. Is it acting or is it real? This question hangs on everyone's mind. If Su Yang were asked to make a choice and was not completely sure, he would choose to play a card instead of taking a risk. Of course I am a man. Zhao San did something that no one expected. Open it for me. After hearing this, Guo Xiaoyun's heart suddenly sank. The playing card was turned over, and it turned out to be a queen. Ha ha ha, you lost. Zhao San was very surprised. He once again made Guo Xiaoyun taste the taste of failure. This time he didn't use his talent, it was just a pure gamble. Who changed my cards? Guo Xiaoyun asked a soul-searching question, looking at Lu Ming, Yun Paipei and Su Yang in disbelief. Don't look at me. I can only create conditions for myself and can't influence others. Su Yang spread his hands to show his innocence. It's not me either. Yun Paipei waved her hands quickly. Ahem. Lu Ming raised his glasses, feeling a little unnatural. It's you. Guo Xiaoyun's eyes widened and she screamed, You beast, you're hurting me. Chapter 8. I just want to win, not targeting anyone, Lu Ming explained. You will be punished, and you will not die a good death. Guo Xiaoyun was murdered twice and her mentality collapsed. First, Zhao San looked at her cards, and then Lu Ming took her cards away. Lu Ming said nothing and sat quietly in his seat, seemingly at peace with the world. He's a ruthless person. Su Yang thought to himself. He had guessed the prerequisites for the other party to activate his talent. Raise your glasses. Zhao San had also suffered a similar loss, and Lu Ming did the same thing. It seems normal, this is a habit shared by 99% of people who wear glasses. And while carrying it, he talked to divert people's attention. You have a very deep mind. Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief. Sure enough, no one here is a good person. In a society ruled by law, everyone shows their good side. But in a world without laws, they can freely reveal the darkness in their hearts. Even though this is only the first game, you can see the clues. Lu Ming looks like an honest programmer, but he can be surprisingly ruthless. Wait, all of you just wait for me. Guo Xiaoyun raised the pistol with a ferocious look and pointed it at his temple. At this moment, she seemed to hear the sound of a bullet being loaded, and her face suddenly changed. St, go to hell! Zhao San was extremely excited. The death he had been longing for was finally happening. I won't let any of you go. Guo Xiaoyun stroked the hair beside her ears, as if she wanted to retain her final dignity before her death. You should pray that you won't be shot. What's the point of saying harsh words? Zhao Sanda laughed. Just as Guo Xiaoyun was about to pull the trigger, her head suddenly shrank. It's like the head has shrunk into the neck. Bang! The moment the trigger was pulled, a loud gunshot rang out throughout the tavern, and a bullet passed over Guo Xiaoyun's neck and hit Zhao San's head accurately. Puff! The bullet pierced his head, bringing out countless blood, staining the table red. Bang! Zhao San collapsed on the table, completely dead. The whole place was quiet, not a sound could be heard. No one expected that the ending would be like this. The bullet was clearly meant for Guo Xiaoyun's head, but it went through her neck. Finally, it hit Zhao San who was still laughing. Ah! Yun Paipei screamed at a high decibel, as if she was going to pierce through the roof. He's dead. Lu Ming's yellow face turned pale, then blue and purple, and he vomited with a wow sound. Su Yang was sitting on the left side of Zhao San. When the bullet was fired, a stream of warm blood splashed on his face. The smell lingers on the tip of the nose, slightly rusty and fishy. Su Yang claimed that he had read many bloody novels and many descriptions of corpses. But when it really happened, his stomach couldn't help but churn. A mass of foreign matter surged up his throat, but he swallowed it back with his strong willpower. So, this is death. He truly realized that this game was not entertainment, nor was it an illusion. Once dead, he is dead. There is no resurrection option. He was deeply aware of the cruelty of the death game. However, this is only the first game. Even if he survives, he still has to participate in countless death games. The elimination rate is as high as 80%. Who can ensure that they will stay alive? Thinking of this, despair surged in Su Yang's heart. Do I have to be trapped in a cage for the rest of my life? The bullet that should have killed Guo Xiaoyun failed to kill her, and bursts of metal friction sounds came from the revolver. It's like the bullet is reloaded. But it didn't shoot. In other words, Guo Xiaoyun still has one chance. Last chance? Are you hoping for my death? Bah! Guo Xiaoyun let out a long breath of anger and felt extremely relieved. She had been unhappy with Zhao San for a long time, and this was just the right opportunity for revenge. Su Yang was very surprised to see the most ferocious Zhao San become the first to die. Don't look at it anymore, just continue. Guo Xiaoyun said softly. After hearing these words, Lu Ming trembled. He had just cheated the other party once, and Guo Xiaoyun's next target of revenge would definitely be himself. Using the most gentle tone to reveal the most cruel meaning. Brother Su Yang, now you have become my client, you must be kind to your sister. Guo Xiaoyun said in a coquettish voice. Su Yang frowned and did not respond. This woman has gone crazy. The fifth round begins, and this time the eye is a ace. Now that the card spy has died, the four of them can look at the cards openly. 3 aces, 1 joker, 1 king. I'm lucky this round. Su Yang breathed a sigh of relief. This is about 70% stable now. But having just witnessed death, he chose to activate his magic talent for safety. Bang! With a snap of his fingers, K immediately turned into a joker. 5 valid cards in hand. Impeccable. Brother Su Yang, you activated your talent so quickly. Are you afraid that Sister Pepe will hurt you? Guo Xiaoyun caught Su Yang's movements and spoke softly. Lu Ming and Yun Pei looked over. I'm afraid of death. Su Yang spoke directly, looking into her eyes and said, I wonder if your talent can be used continuously. Hee, guess. Guo Xiaoyun smiled sweetly and threw out 2 cards, 2 aces. Sister only has 1 life left, please don't drive away from me, okay? It's still verbal interference. Su Yang holds 5 valid cards in his hand, so of course he wouldn't be stupid enough to gamble. As long as he plays all the cards, this round of the game will have nothing to do with him. Guo Xiaoyun only has 1 life left now, and the cooldown time for her talent that allows her to freely control the size of body parts should be quite long. Lu Ming's talent seems to be card exchange, and its cooldown time is similar to Zhao San's talent cooldown time. Both wheels are launched once. Now only Yun Pei's talent remains unknown. 3 aces. Su Yang threw out 3. Yun Pei was still in shock, she had not yet recovered from the scene of Zhao San's death. The whole person was stunned, staring straight ahead. Su Yang didn't intend to remind her to play her cards because his goal was very clear now. Being a saint comes at a price. By tacit agreement, neither Lu Ming nor Guo Xiaoyun gave any reminders. Just waste time like this. As time passed, Yun Pei seemed to have forgotten that she was still playing games, and her eyes became dull. Su Yang turned his head and looked at the clock. 4 minutes had passed. With only 1 minute left, she was forced to reveal her cards. However, things did not develop as Su Yang expected. Lu Ming finally couldn't bear it and coughed twice. Yun Pei was startled when she heard the voice, lowered her head to look at the cards, and threw out 1, an ace. Guo Xiaoyun's eyes suddenly became ambiguous. You are not attracted to our sister Pei, are you? You can't bear to see her lose, right? My throat is a little itchy. Lu Ming made a lame excuse. I think it's more than just an itchy throat. Guo Xiaoyun glanced at him meaningfully, even if you help her, only one person will survive in the end. I want to hug Pepe's soft body. This dream seems a bit absurd. Chapter 9. Lu Ming's thoughts were seen through, but he said nothing. A card, are you going to open it? Su Yang looked up. No, I'll also play an ace. Lu Ming shook his head and threw out 1. I didn't realize you were such a lovesick person. Guo Xiaoyun smiled charmingly and threw out 1 as well. An ace. Are you all so conservative? Su Yang chuckled and threw out the remaining 2 cards in his hand, 2 aces. All 5 cards in hand are cleared. The next game of cards had nothing to do with him. Unless Yun Pei chose to open the cards. Knowing that Su Yang's talent was magic and had activated it, she naturally wouldn't be stupid enough to lose her life. The situation gradually became stalemate. The remaining 3 people each hold 4 cards in their hands. Assuming that Su Yang has 5 valid cards, remove the 3 valid cards from the previous round. There are only 3 valid cards left on the field. According to probability, as long as someone dares to play 2 cards, one of the remaining 2 people must be a liar. Of course, this is the ideal situation. None of them knew what cards Su Yang had played, and no one knew whether the cards played by the other party in the previous round were valid. Therefore, this round is all about gambling. See who is braver. Sister Pepette, how many cards do you plan to play this round? Guo Xiaoyun asked in a low voice. I'll still play an ace. Yun Paipei drew a card and put it on the table. Another one. Guo Xiaoyun's eyes flickered as he looked at Lu Ming. It's your turn. Lu Ming took a breath and said, an ace. As soon as the first card was played, Guo Xiaoyun also played a card, an ace. There is absolutely no intention of letting go. The pointer slowly turned and stopped on Yun Ppi again. Do you have any valid cards in your hands? Guo Xiaoyun's mouth curled up into a charming arc. Yun Pipei clenched her cards tightly, her palms sweating from nervousness. Don't be afraid, just go out. Your brother Lu Ming won't be willing to fire you. Guo Xiaoyun said. Nonsense, I'm not that kind of person. Lu Ming raised his glasses and spoke righteously. Ability activated. Su Yang caught this little movement and raised his eyebrows. Guo Xiaoyun also noticed the unusual situation. She looked down at the cards in her hand and found that the only remaining valid card had disappeared. She immediately flew into a rage. Lu Ming, you want to harm me again. In order to help Yun Pipei, you actually activated your talent on me continuously. You don't think she'll throw herself at you if you do this, do you? A wretched man like you will never be liked by anyone in your life. Lu Ming saw her hysteria, but he was not panicked. I am just doing the right thing. You activated your talent to avoid death once, but if you lose again, you will definitely die. Under the circumstances where the positions of Su Yang and Yun Pipei's bullets are uncertain, the best solution is to steadily eliminate one person. Guo Xiaoyun was so angry at his words that she laughed. Are you so sure that I will lose this round? Instead of you. After these words were spoken, Lu Ming's shoulders trembled slightly, but his face remained calm. Yun Pipei blinked her big eyes, an ace interesting. Su Yang found the entanglement between the 3 people funny. There is nothing wrong with Lu Ming's approach. Most people would do the same at this point in time. The more people die, the better it is for the remaining survivors. As for whether there is any personal feelings involved, only the parties involved know the truth. As expected, Lu Ming did not choose to open his cards, but instead drew a card. At this time, Guo Xiaoyun hurriedly said, shoot her. She must be lying. The talents of the 4 people have all been revealed, only Yun Pipei has not yet revealed them. If I die, can you guarantee that I can get through the rest of the way safely? Why don't you and I join forces to get rid of them first? I only have 1 life left, so when it's just you and me fighting, you have a better chance of winning. Lu Ming paused while playing cards and fell into deep thought. Obviously, he was moved. Guo Xiaoyun's proposal touched his heart. In his eyes, Su Yang is a big threat. Yun Pipei is a hidden threat. Guo Xiaoyun has only 1 life, but her talent is extremely strange. How do you join forces? Lu Ming did not believe it blindly. Guo Xiaoyun's eyes lit up when he saw a chance. It's very simple. Just buy time. As long as my talent cools down, I can take either of them away. As soon as these words were spoken, Yun Pipei's face changed and her eyes were filled with panic. Don't believe her, she's lying to you. Guo Xiaoyun was not anxious. After all, the fish had already been hooked. What benefit can you get from helping her? Nothing. Wake up, this death game is either you or me, how can there be any gratitude afterwards? Besides, you live in prison and don't even have the chance to hold hands with others. Don't you have anyone you care about? As long as you win and escape from here, you will have a chance to reunite with your family. You should think about yourself and think about it carefully. Lu Ming's heart moved, and he slowly put the cards back in his hand. Guo Xiaoyun was overjoyed when he saw this, and was planning to completely break down his psychological defenses. Without even opening his mouth, Lu Ming quickly slapped out a card. Your proposal does make me very excited, but you also reminded me that this game is not about your death. It's me who's going to die. Guo Xiaoyun's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. She didn't expect that no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't persuade this fool. You are such a brainless person, you deserve to die. It was obvious that Guo Xiaoyun's defense was broken. But at this moment Lu Ming revealed his true face, revealing two huge fangs. His eyes turned cold and he said, "The one who believes you is brainless. Your talent can kill other players. Similarly, I might become that poor guy. Even if we kill them both as you said, by the time we face off in the end, your cooldown time will be back, right? If you want to play with people's hearts, you must first see if you are worthy of it." Guo Xiaoyun was so angry after her trick was exposed that she slammed the table and said, "Then I will fire you today. Whatever you want, it doesn't matter if you lose. Anyway, you have a 5/6 chance of surviving." Lu Ming didn't care and continued, "I have figured out your tricks. In the next round, you will definitely die." Guo Xiaoyun sneered and turned the card over. As she expected, it was an invalid card. Lu Ming played AK. He raised the pistol to his head with a calm expression. But his slightly trembling arms betrayed his mental state. "What if you only win that 1/6? Guo Xiaoyun teased. "I've always had good luck." Lu Ming said, suppressing his fear. "Yet." "Certainly." As soon as he finished speaking, Lu Ming pulled the trigger and a flash of fire flashed by. Bang! The bullet passed through his head, leaving a big hole in his temple, and blood gushed out. The warm blood splashed on Guo Xiaoyun's face. Contrary to her usual behavior, she did not panic but laughed wildly. "See? This is the fate of a dog licker." Su Yang frowned. Even after watching it again, he still felt uncomfortable. At this moment, he glanced at Yun Pai Pei beside him and found that her face was full of fear, but her eyes were very clear. Guo Xiaoyun stared at Lu Ming, who died with his eyes open, and felt indescribably happy. Then she stared at Su Yang, licked the blood from the corner of her mouth, and said in an indescribably charming manner, "Brother Su Yang, are you willing to cooperate with me?" Chapter 10. Lu Ming's death surprised Su Yang. Except for him, the other three had all lost, and none of them died at the first shot. Therefore, everyone assumes that there will be no bullet when you pull the trigger for the first time. Lu Ming naturally thought so too. But I didn't expect that he would be so unlucky. He had never lost before, but he tasted the bullet the first time he lost. It seems to be in line with the saying, "I can make countless mistakes, but you can only make one mistake." The sudden invitation for cooperation surprised Su Yang even more. "I thought Guo Xiaoyun was at the end of his strength, but I didn't expect that he was still thinking of turning the situation around in this situation. Her talent is beyond common sense and she can even play tricks on the rules." Su Yang was about to refuse subconsciously, but then he remembered the scene he had just seen. So he nodded and smiled, "Okay, let's cooperate." Yun Pai Pei's face was full of surprise. The magic talent can make you invincible to a great extent. Unless something unexpected happened, there was almost no chance for him to pick up the revolver. Why would you want to work with someone who might backstab you? Guo Xiaoyun was also quite surprised. She had just wanted to try to grab the last straw, but she didn't expect Su Yang to actually agree. "It just so happens that Lu Ming died, and now I have become Sister Pepe's next home." Guo Xiaoyun laughed from the bottom of his heart for the first time. "Having a great time laughing. You can't do this." Yun Pai Pei looked aggrieved. "Why not? Is it written in the rules?" Su Yang asked back. Yun Pai Pei couldn't think of any reason to refute and was about to cry. "Oh, our Sister Pepe is about to cry, why don't you comfort her?" Guo Xiaoyun teased. "What are you talking about, sister? If I coax her, wouldn't that be violating the principle of cooperation?" Su Yang glanced at her and then looked away. Yun Pai Pei bit her lip and said nothing. You can see that she is very scared now. There were only 3 people left on the field, and 2 of them teamed up to target him. Anyone would feel unfair and aggrieved. A new round begins, this time the eye is K-King. Su Yang picked up the cards, took a look at them and then closed them. 1K, 2 QS, 1 Ace, and 1 Joker. There are still 2 minutes left before the cooldown of the magic talent ends. Since the loser Lu Ming is dead, the first person to play a card is Guo Xiaoyun. "My dear brother, remember that we are in a cooperative relationship." Guo Xiaoyun threw out a card directly, "A King." She didn't dare to trust Su Yang 100%. After all, no one can guarantee whether it is true or false. Besides, she has no room for error now. If she loses the bet once, there will be no recovery. Therefore, she played a valid card this turn. It's for testing. At the same time, it is also delaying time. Don't worry, sister. How could I bear to hurt you? A smile appeared on Su Yang's handsome face. It is as warm as the sun, deeply rooted in people's hearts. Hee hee. Guo Xiaoyun laughed so hard that her body shook. 2 kings. Su Yang threw out a K and a joker. It's Yun Pei's turn to play. Seeing the two people flirting as if they were alone, she was angry but said nothing. 3 kings. Yun Pei seemed to be in a desperate mood and directly played 3 cards. Are you angry? Guo Xiaoyun didn't even think about opening the cards, because her CD was almost ready. At that time, he only needs to give Su Yang a hint to open the cards, and Guo Xiaoyun will be able to use his talent to take Yun Pei away. A king. Guo Xiaoyun used up all the time in the card-playing phase and only threw out 1 card in the last 3 seconds. Su Yang snapped his fingers, activated his magic talent, and conjured up a king. The atmosphere on the field became subtle. Guo Xiaoyun's conspiracy was obvious. As Su Yang's next customer, it was obviously unrealistic for Yun Pei to open the cards. If she wants to make a comeback, she must have the same talent of being able to play tricks on the rules. Or kill Guo Xiaoyun before her CD is ready. Obviously, it is very difficult to achieve the latter. Not even practical. 2 kings. Yun Pei threw out all the cards in her hand. At this moment, she played out all 5 cards, just like Su Yang did in the previous round. Guo Xiaoyun's face was full of joking. Sister, do you think you can get yourself out by showing off all your cards? It's kind of naive and cute. But, a simple-minded girl like you can only do this. Actually, I like girls like you very much. It's just a pity that we met in the death game. Guo Xiaoyun sighed, revealing regret. However, Yun Pei did not reply. She just folded her hands on the table and closed her eyes. Can't you finally help but activate your talent? Su Yang narrowed his eyes slightly. Time passed by little, and she remained motionless like a statue. Guo Xiaoyun was still stalling for time and was somewhat curious about Yun Pei's actions. Although he felt something was wrong in his heart, he did not take it to heart. If a rabbit bites someone in a hurry, can it bite off the person's head? In just 10 minutes, she can activate her talent and expel a player. Thinking of this, Guo Xiaoyun felt a little better and thought about how to deal with Su Yang later. The cooperation was only temporary, and she knew very well that Su Yang was also trying to deal with her. Suddenly, Yun Pei opened her eyes, and her eyes suddenly turned blue. Here it comes. Su Yang raised his eyebrows and looked in the direction she was looking. It was Guo Xiaoyun. At this moment, she didn't realize what was wrong and just stared at the clock on the wall. By the time she noticed the unusual blue eyes, it was too late. She stretched her hand uncontrollably toward the table, aiming for the 2 cards Yun Pei had played. Wait, why is my hand out of control? Guo Xiaoyun's face changed drastically, and he tried hard to pull his hand back. But no matter how hard she tried, it was of no avail. Seeing that he was getting closer and closer to the center of the table, Guo Xiaoyun was extremely anxious and shouted, Su Yang, think of a solution. Faced with the call for help, Su Yang just looked on coldly. Didn't we agree to cooperate? Stop her quickly. How could Guo Xiaoyun not realize that this was Yun Pei's talent? She must not open the cards. Once it opens, you will die. He won't help you. Yun Pei spoke at this time. The voice was no longer timid as before, but carried a hint of coldness. The tone of voice was completely different, and the expression was like 2 different people. From a harmless little lamb to a big bad wolf that chooses its prey. Su Yang, you. Guo Xiaoyun's eyes were full of disbelief, and her voice was filled with tears. As soon as she finished speaking, she had already turned over 2 cards. 2 kings. Why did you betray me? Guo Xiaoyun was extremely desperate, tears flowing uncontrollably. She had never trusted someone so much in her life. This is the first time in this game. She chose to trust without hesitation, but lost so completely. Cooperating with you is just a cover. In fact, you want to force me to use my talent. Yun Pei's eyes were like torches, with murderous intent flashing in them. Su Yang. Am I right? Su Yang looked expressionlessly at the disappointment and regret in Guo Xiaoyun's eyes, and the revolver he slowly raised. I lied to you, but what I said was the truth. Chapter 11. You are all beasts, not human beings. Guo Xiaoyun's face was full of despair. She had never felt death so close to her. My true heart was given to the wrong person. As soon as I entered the game, I was treated as a chess piece. She hates. The sound of a bullet being loaded rang beside my ear, and my heart skipped a beat. A series of pictures seemed to appear before Guo Xiaoyun's eyes. That was the path she had walked. It's like a kaleidoscope, playing frame by frame. Childhood, adolescence, and adulthood are relived. The word loneliness can fully summarize her short and bleak life. I really believe you. Guo Xiaoyun closed her eyes and tears fell. Bang! The bullet passed through her chest and hit her head, splashing a flower of blood. He fell weakly and hit the table heavily. The blood slowly spread out, like a charming flower, blooming wildly. In a game of 5 people, 3 died. Only 2 people left. Do you believe that there are ghosts in this world? Yun Pei suddenly asked. I am a materialist. Su Yang was puzzled by her nonsensical words. The moment I saw her die, I suddenly thought, these people were indirectly killed by us. If they become ghosts, they will come looking for us, right? Yun Pei's long eyelashes fluttered. You seem to have made a mistake. It's not we, it's only me. Su Yang said lightly. Yun Pei turned around and smiled. Who gave you this illusion? Is this a talent for magic? Of course. Su Yang grinned. The two looked at each other for a moment, determination in their eyes. I'm a little curious. I disguised myself very well, so how did you find out? Yun Pei asked. I just don't believe in human nature. Su Yang said. Don't talk about such vague things. You don't look like a philosopher. Yun Pei sneered. Now she has completely torn off her disguise and is no longer the weak and fragile girl. On the contrary, her temperament is quite cold, which is her true nature. At first you cried and wanted to leave, but then you were sent back by the rules. This is one of the reasons. Su Yang stretched out a finger. What's wrong with a timid woman not wanting to die? Yun Pei was puzzled. I've seen a lot of timid girls when I was playing escape rooms. They behaved just like you, all wanting to escape from danger. But your action was too direct. You ran straight out the door. That was very unusual. The rules were hinted at when I descended into the cage. Even the most timid and stupid person could guess that it was impossible to escape. Plus, the mysterious teleportation force brought you and me to the tavern, and most of the doubts should be dispelled. If you are really scared, the first thing you should do is to discuss how to escape without playing games. Su Yang spoke slowly. Just because of this? Yun Pei frowned. Of course, not only that. When playing the game, the fight between Zhao San and Guo Xiaoyun drew everyone's attention, and your position naturally became a blind spot. Su Yang stretched out his second finger. So what's the flaw? Yun Pei pursed her lips somewhat unnaturally. When no one was paying attention to you, I observed you several times. Your expression, including your eyes, seemed very calm. Su Yang threw all the cards in his hand to the center of the table and continued, only when it's your turn to play a card will you show fear and hesitation, thinking of continuing to create an illusion, right? Yun Pei opened her mouth and was about to speak, but was interrupted by Su Yang. I guess you must have been waiting for players like me to activate their talents and collect information. That 4-minute daze. If I'm not mistaken, you were waiting for Lu Ming's reminder. In the end, you waited for him, and he finally softened his heart. Yun Pei's plan was revealed bit by bit, like peeling off silk threads from an onion. You are smarter than I thought. I have studied acting for so many years, but I have never fooled you. Yun Pei was a little surprised. Actually, I'm still skeptical at this point. What really exposed you was Lu Ming's death. Su Yang watched the NPC take the cards away and start a new round of shuffling. Yun Pei recalled that she did not continue to play the innocent role at that time. All I was thinking about was how to gain Su Yang's trust. But he never thought that he would cooperate with Guo Xiaoyun, which forced him to reveal his talent. So that's why. No wonder you agreed to this SY woman's request. Yun Pei said coldly. Your disguised appearance can easily arouse the desire to protect. Your plan should be to let others fight with each other, and then reap the benefits and kill them by surprise, right? Su Yang's eyes flashed with a gleam. Yun Pei smiled coldly and did not deny it. Aren't you the same? You kept silent and put yourself in an external position. When playing this kind of game, the more you talk, the easier it is to be seen through. Likewise, the easier it is to be targeted. Su Yang nodded without comment. Zhao San deserves to be the first to die. He talks too much and is too ostentatious. Yun Pei stared at Zhao San's body, a cold light flashing in her eyes. Indeed, if he had not had a conflict with Guo Xiaoyun, the latter would never have used his talent to kill him. Similarly, Guo Xiaoyun's madness also made her the focus. Lu Ming would try every means to get rid of her. The taciturn Su Yang and the weak-looking Yun Pei escaped. No one can stay calm all the time. Human nature is one aspect, but emotions also account for the majority. There are only two of us left, can you give way to me? Yun Pei immediately showed a pitiful expression, which made people love her. Of course, as long as I don't lose 6 times, I won't die. Su Yang looked indifferent. Fraud talent is activated successfully. The bullet position changes. Yun Pei carefully pondered the meaning of Su Yang's words and suddenly grasped the key point. Then his eyes widened. Can you move the bullet? Of course, otherwise how could he be a magician? Su Yang smiled confidently. As soon as these words were spoken, a sound was heard from inside the revolver on Su Yang's desk. This is impossible, you are changing the rules. Yun Pei's face was full of disbelief. Strictly speaking, it's not a change. The bullet is still there, and I only have 5 chances at most. Su Yang looked innocent. I don't believe your talent can reach this level. Yun Pei shook her head. You'll know if you try it. Su Yang took the cards in his hand, without even looking at them, and threw out 3. Open me. The eye in this round is the queen. Yun Pei saw that Su Yang did not activate his talent and directly played 3 cards without even looking at them. Do you think I would be stupid enough to fall for your trick? Yun Pei looked cautious. She would not do anything stupid. What if this is Su Yang's plan? Wouldn't that mean I'll be shot? A queen. Yun Pei threw 1 out. Open. Su Yang slammed the table without thinking. When the card was turned over, it turned out to be a Q. Congratulations, I lost. Su Yang smiled and raised the gun to his head. Yun Pei looked at this method of suicide, feeling confused, excited, and nervous. The reason is simple, Su Yang is too confident, so confident that he doesn't care about life and death. There's no way he can know the location of the bullet, let alone control it, Yun Pei thought. But when the bullet was loaded, Guo Xiaoyun didn't die, but Zhao San was shot dead. Could it be that? Before she could figure out what was going on, Su Yang had already pulled the trigger. Click. There was no gunshot, and there was no fear on Su Yang's face. Isn't it strange? Su Yang put the revolver on the table, and raised the corners of his mouth. From now on, this is my home court. Chapter 12. If he played the game normally, he would die after firing the 3rd shot. But now, he can lose without restraint. Yun Pei's heart choked. She took a deep breath and said calmly, it was just luck. I didn't die when I fired the 1st shot. I know you don't believe it, let's do it again. Su Yang smiled slightly. A new round begins, this time the eye is a ace. Su Yang lost the last round, so he played first in this round. He threw out 3 more cards without even looking at them. 3 aces. Yun Pei still didn't choose to open it, but drew out a card, an ace. Open. The moment the cards fell on the table, Su Yang chose to open the cards without hesitation. The cards turned over, an ace. Congratulations, I lost again. Su Yang congratulated sincerely. Luck won't always be on your side. Yun Pei stared at the revolver's cylinder. As if trying to find some clues from it. I never need luck. Su Yang changed his previous taciturn attitude and became extremely calm. This pride and confidence came from his heart, as if confirming what he said, this is my home turf. Click. The gunshot that Yun Pei had been waiting for a long time still did not come. See, I was right, wasn't I? Su Yang put the gun back in place. I don't believe you have the guts to lose again. Yun Pei gnashed with hatred. Others regard life as precious, but he doesn't care at all. I have been trying hard to disguise myself for such a long time just to survive. After getting rid of 3 players with great difficulty, how can we give up all our efforts just because of Su Yang's words about home court? She was not convinced, and even more unwilling. The new eye is K-King. Su Yang did the same thing and threw out 3 cards, 3 kings. Open. This time Yun Pei did not choose to play a card, but to open the card. This move surprised Su Yang, as he thought she would play it safe. You're still anxious after all. Su Yang laughed secretly in his heart. 3 cards are turned over, a Q, a Joker, and a K. Although he had 2 valid cards, Su Yang still lost. Don't congratulate, just shoot. Yun Pei was tired of hearing those 2 sentences and urged in a cold voice. Su Yang didn't care about her tone of desperately wanting him to die. He took the revolver and shot himself in the head. Click. Sorry, I'm still alive. Su Yang gave him an apologetic look. You. Yun Pei's face was filled with anger, and she felt panic in her heart. If it is true that the rules can be changed as Su Yang said, then wouldn't she be doomed? How can we play this damn death game? Come again if you dare. Yun Pei said hysterically. As you wish. In the new round, Su Yang lost the game as expected. However, there was still no gunshot. This is the 4th shot. Another round ended, and Su Yang still failed. There was no gunshot. This was the 5th shot. You should believe it now, right? Su Yang spread out his hands and raised his chin slightly. The anger on Yun Pei's face had reached an uncontrollable point. But it disappeared in the blink of an eye, and was replaced by a smile of success. You've fallen into the trap. If you lose again, you will surely die. Su Yang's expression suddenly turned extremely ugly. You actually provoked me. Young people are indeed young people. Once they have some skills, they can't help showing off. I really don't know whether to say you are smart or stupid. Yun Pei giggled. I haven't lost yet. Isn't it too early to pop champagne at halftime? Su Yang's face was full of regret. The intelligence and talent you displayed before are totally inconsistent with what you show now. Haven't you heard of this idiom, arrogant soldiers come before a fall? Yun Pei suddenly looked confident of victory. Don't forget, my magic talent has not been used yet. Su Yang's nervous expression relaxed. Really? Then I'm looking forward to your performance. Yun Pei said coldly. A new round begins, and the eye of this round is K-King. Su Yang's original composure disappeared. He picked up the cards in his hand and looked at them carefully, without any expression. 2 KS, 1 Joker, 2 Aces. Bang! After snapping his fingers, one of the A's turned into a K. Now, he holds 4 valid cards in his hand. Can't you help but use your ability? So you're afraid of death? Yun Pei seemed to see through Su Yang's mind. Aren't you afraid? Su Yang threw out 2 cards, 2 kings. Yun Pei's soft and white hands slid across the cards, and she took one out, smiling and saying, Of course I'm afraid, but I won't be the one to die. A king. It's too early to draw a conclusion now. Su Yang took out a card and was about to play it when a blue light suddenly enveloped him. Looking up, I saw Yun Pei's eyes turned azure blue in an instant. At the same time, Su Yang felt that he had lost control of his hands, as if he had been anesthetized and could not feel anything at all. What now? Yun Pei asked. You've been acting for so long? Just for this moment. Su Yang watched his hand pull out the only invalid card in his hand and throw it on the table. You like to see other people's helpless and furious expressions, so why not play along with you? The blue light in Yun Pei's eyes disappeared, and then she continued, Isn't it the most righteous thing to fulfill the wish of a dying person? That's it. Su Yang sneered. You're still pretending when you're about to die. As soon as I open the cards, you should know what your ending will be. Yun Pei saw that he was still being stubborn and shook her head in disappointment. I thought your talent was more than just this, but I didn't expect you could just control the player's limbs. Su Yang also showed disappointment in his eyes. What do you mean? Yun Pei suddenly had an ominous premonition in her heart. Your talent should be able to make the player's limbs obey commands, but the limbs obviously have no consciousness. How do you make your hands accurately pick up invalid cards? Su Yang expressed his confusion. If you want to die with a clear mind, then I'll tell you. Yun Pei gave an example, similar to Alzheimer's disease, when people have no memory, they will still make subconscious actions according to their usual behavior habits. Similarly, although the arm has no self-awareness, I will definitely refuse to play invalid cards in the game. I just need to go against my subconscious and I can get the invalid cards accurately. I see. Su Yang suddenly laughed, but what if I don't have an invalid card? I was also gambling. Fortunately, I won the bet. Yun Pei raised her head, and her delicate facial features shone brightly under the light. She smiled. Having a great time laughing. After so much effort, we finally see the dawn of victory. You are half right, but also half wrong. Su Yang shook his head. Actually, I played AK. Fraud talent is activated successfully, invalid card ace is changed to valid card king. How is that possible? People's intuition won't lie. Yun Pei sneered and immediately turned over the card that Su Yang had just played. As soon as the cards turned over, Yun Pei felt like she was falling into an icy cave. Is it really K? Yun Pei looked up suddenly as if struck by lightning, just in time to meet Su Yang's smiling eyes. Impossible, you have already activated your magic talent, where did this K come from? Yun Pei claimed to be in control of the overall situation, but something happened that was beyond her control. In fact, magic is not my talent at all. Su Yang shook his head and said slowly, formally introduce myself, my real talent is deception, in my home turf I am God. Chapter 13. Fraud? What kind of talent is this? Yun Pei's body was trembling. It was an act before, but this time it's real. As long as half of the players on the field believe my lie, the lie will come true. Su Yang stared at the revolver on the table. I can still fire 5 more shots. The familiar voice sounded again. Su Yang pointed the gun directly at his head and pulled the trigger 5 times in a row. Ka 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 ka. Then he opened the revolver and poured out a bullet. Look. Su Yang raised his eyebrows with a smile on his face. Seeing this scene, Yun Pei suddenly remembered that he had just said something familiar. Then the cylinder inside the pistol changed. It turns out that it wasn't my magic talent that changed the bullet's position. Yun Pei smiled bitterly, her face as pale as paper. In addition to being sad, she was extremely shocked by the horror of this talent. What is the concept of words come true? He can even play tricks on the rules if he wants. So the embarrassment you just showed was also an illusion, right? Yun Pei said self-deprecatingly. She thought Su Yang was really that stupid. Of course, I want to experience your talent myself, and I also want to see to what extent you can manipulate it, so I'll use your trick against you. Su Yang nodded. After all, the talent he had obtained before was recognize the thief as your father, and its function was to control all the behaviors of the player. Therefore, he was curious whether Yun Pei's control could reach the same level. After the test, he was very disappointed. Yun Pei's talent only allows him to control his hands, nothing more. But she didn't have the prerequisite of being called dad. Just look at the player to activate it. With one less difficult prerequisite, the weaker ability can be explained. There were only 2 of us on the field. I clearly didn't believe your lie, so why did it become true? Yun Pei was puzzled. Is this your last wish before you die? Su Yang asked slowly. Yun Pei didn't say a word, but slowly raised her pistol and cried silently. You seem to have forgotten me. I am also a human being. Su Yang reminded. So that's how it is. A hint of surprise flashed across Yun Pei's eyes, and then she figured it out. When there are 2 people left, as long as Su Yang believes in his lies without a doubt, his ability can be activated without limit. No matter what attitude the other player holds, it cannot change the outcome. No wonder you were silent at first. It turns out that you were not just collecting information, but also because you couldn't activate your talent. Yun Pei realized it and continued to ask, isn't the magic talent you mentioned also fabricated? Of course, I didn't gather intelligence and point out Zhao San's talent without any purpose. You are so scheming. You are the wolf. Yun Pei suddenly felt relieved, and the resentment in her heart faded a lot. Su Yang's intelligence was the best she had ever seen, and even without cheating, she was not sure she could win. Coupled with his talent for deception, he is completely invincible. I have another request, I beg you to agree to it. Yun Pei said. Please go ahead. Stay alive and find the truth for me and for us. Yun Pei did not point out the so-called truth. But Su Yang knew what she was referring to. Good. I actually really love acting, and I really want to play the leading role once. Yun Pei closed her eyes and tears welled up in her eyes. Do you think my acting skills are qualified to be the leading actress? Su Yang thought for a moment, nodded and said, this is the best I have ever seen in my life. Thank you. Yun Pei smiled with satisfaction and lowered her head. She was ready to accept death. Su Yang sighed inwardly and said, bullets loaded. Bang! 4 bodies lay on the table, and the blood had dyed the already mottled surface deep red. Finally, it's over. Su Yang felt no joy in his heart, nor did he have any sense of accomplishment from completing the game. 5 strangers appear here to complete the death game. Maybe there are unknown stories behind them. Perhaps they shoulder burdens and responsibilities that ordinary people can hardly imagine. Or maybe, each of them has a reason to live. But because of a game, the future was ruined. Before they died, the 4 people all thought that if they could live again, they would definitely do their best. Su Yang doesn't smoke, but at this moment he really wants to taste it. Is it true that it can relieve all worries as others say? Successfully cleared the Liar Tavern game player, Su Yang, performance rating, S achievement, turn the tide, reward 10 points achievement, extreme luck, 10 points reward achievement, use talent for the first time, reward 10 points achievement, impulse is the devil, reward 10 points personal score reward, 20 points clearance rewards, 1 food gift pack, 1 daily necessities gift pack, 100 points current points, 160 game over, about to exit. The familiar incandescent light fell, illuminating the ground like a shroud. Su Yang woke up from the iron bed and opened his eyes to see the wooden bed board above him. He hurriedly climbed out of bed and walked to the cage, looking towards the east side of the first floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. He found the 8th cage and took a closer look. From his angle, he could take in the entire scene inside the cage. Sure enough, he didn't show up. Su Yang murmured. He clearly remembered that Lu Ming was number 108. For a moment he thought it was all a dream. The dream is over, and it's time to go home. But the truth is so cruel that once a person dies, he will never appear in the cage again. Su Yang looked around and found that many cages were empty. Of the 100 cells on the second floor, 30 were empty as far as he could see. The elimination rate is so high. Su Yang frowned. At this moment, the report came into my mind again. The first game is over, congratulations to the survivors, rewards have been issued, please check in your respective cages. Remaining players, 952, 145, 1209. The second game will start in 3 days. Points ranking open. As soon as he finished speaking, 4 light screens suddenly appeared in the middle of each floor, corresponding to the 4 directions of east, south, west and north. Prison number 881 overall ranking first place, Qin Viang, points, 200. Second place, Luo Shuang, points, 200. Third place, Lian, points, 200. Fourth place, Zhang Ruxiao, points, 200. Number 2756, Su Yang, points, 160. Number 7025, Su Guang, points, 100. Number of surviving players, 7025, number of deaths, 2975. After 12 days, the top 100 people will be able to leave the prison. Top 100. Su Yang's pupils shrank slightly. He boasted that he performed very well in the game and had unlocked many achievements, but his ranking was only over 2000. I'm 40 points behind the first place, and the points for completing the game are the same. I guess it's because I haven't unlocked as many achievements as them. Su Yang fell into deep thought. Some players with 160 points ranked 1556th. He guessed that this might be related to the length of time it takes to clear customs. Does leaving the prison mean returning to the real world? A gleam of light flashed in Su Yang's eyes. Chapter 14. Hey, handsome guy, what's your ranking? Just as Su Yang was stunned, a voice suddenly came from behind him. Turning his head, he saw a tall boy with a crew cut and about his height standing in front of the glass wall between the 2 cages. He was wearing a white vest, a pair of beach pants, and a pair of ordinary home slippers. My name is Lin Yang, ranking 1427. Su Yang, rank 2756. Lin Yang looked over and found Su Yang's ranking position. He nodded and said, he's only 10 points behind me. Not bad. These words were somewhat sarcastic, but Lin Yang realized it later and quickly explained, "That's not what I meant. I wanted to say that you are pretty good." Once these words were spoken, the sarcasm became even stronger. Lin Yang suddenly felt a little embarrassed and scratched his head, not knowing how to explain it. The speaker did not mean it, so the listener naturally did not take it to heart. Su Yang opened the reward package for completing the game. The food gift package contained a lot of bread, several canned beef, several canned pork, frozen dumplings, and fruits. There are a lot of things in the gift bag of life. Towel, toothbrush, toothpaste, shower gel, shampoo, facial cleanser, water cups, coffee, juice, beer, cold medicine, cigarettes, scissors, lighters, tissues, new clothes. It can be said that all the commonly used items in life are included in it. Su Yang was not used to the loss of his cell phone and computer for a while, and suddenly he didn't know what to do. So I took a bottle of juice and some bread, sat on the stool and started eating. Brother, please don't misunderstand me because I'm not good at speaking. That's not what I meant just now. Lin Yang said hurriedly. Su Yang didn't dwell on this question any further and asked, "Does the game you play also reward 100 points?" "Yes, I also unlocked 6 achievements." Lin Yang nodded. "Shouldn't 6 achievements be worth 180 points?" Su Yang gave him a puzzled look. "No, one achievement adds 10 points, and personal rating A adds 10 points, which adds up to exactly 170 points." Lin Yang said seriously. Oh. Su Yang nodded in understanding. "How did you calculate to 180? Lin Yang was about to make fun of him for his poor math skills. Suddenly I remembered that there is an S grade above the A grade. "You are rated S level?" Lin Yang asked with his eyes wide open. No wonder." Lin Yang punched the wall in annoyance. "Damn it, if I could kill that BD, I would definitely be S rank too." Su Yang smiled and didn't respond. Lin Yang talked about killing lightly, as if what he was reaping was not a human life, but a monster in a game. "I am an executioner myself, so what right do I have to think about others?" Su Yang shook his head. "Brother, what is the content of your game?" Lin Yang asked curiously. "The Liar's Tavern, where people play cards." Su Yang said. "It's good to play cards, what are the rules?" Lin Yang immediately became interested. "It's nothing fun, just like the usual big talk dice game." "Such a simple game? Wouldn't it be over in an instant?" Lin Yang immediately lost interest. "If you lose a round of dice, you have to drink a glass of wine." In his understanding, if you lose a round, one person will die. "What about you?" Su Yang asked back. "I'm playing a game of tag. I'm inside an office building. I let people hide for dozens of minutes, and then I catch them all within 2 hours, said Lin Yang. "If we catch them all, we'll win?" Su Yang asked again. "Yeah, if we meet, we win, but I usually just kill him directly." Lin Yang made a gesture of grabbing a rifle. "How does it feel to kill someone?" Su Yang said after a moment's hesitation. Lin Yang was stunned for a moment, and recalled seriously, "It was quite uncomfortable at first, but later I became immune to it." "So, killing a person is like killing a chicken. There is no difference." At this time, a female voice came from the cage on the right. Su Yang looked in the direction of the voice and saw a beautiful figure curled up on the bed with her back to them. "Have you killed before?" Su Yang became interested. "Yeah, we killed a few beasts." The girl's voice was very soft and you couldn't hear it clearly if you didn't listen carefully. "I never dared to think that I would be able to touch a real gun in my life, but I didn't expect to actually touch it. It would be great if I could bring it out." Lin Yang pursed his lips and said with some regret. "By the way, do you think that if we meet the requirements to be in the top 100, we can return to our original world?" Lin Yang added. "It should be possible. Outside the cage, is probably the real world." Su Yang expressed his guess. "That's great. I'm going to write this experience into a book and publish it online." Lin Yang was extremely excited. "You have to survive first. Besides, who among those who can get out alive doesn't have similar experiences?" Su Yang said lightly. When Lin Yang heard this, he froze like a clay sculpture. Su Yang shook his head and smiled, picked up his clothes and bath gel, went into the bathroom, pulled the door curtain and started taking a shower. Tired from a long day, he washed off the blood and dirt on his body. After taking a shower, he threw his dirty clothes into the trash can and climbed into bed to rest. Not long after, all the lights in the prison were suddenly turned off and a loud horn sounded. "It's time to go to bed, all players, be quiet now." As soon as the broadcast sounded, the prison instantly became boiling. "Turn on the light. Why are you turning it off when I'm taking a shower? FK, I finally managed to survive, but I'm not allowed to talk? Which idiot made this rule? I won't shut up, what can you do to me?" These surviving players consider themselves to be the best, many of them have killed people, are extremely violent and refuse to obey discipline. Of course, there are also some people who want to have a good sleep, such as Su Yang. "Why are you yelling so late at night? If you don't sleep, someone else will. Shut up. If you have strength but nowhere to use it, go do push-ups. If you don't feel good enough, find a corner and me." For a moment, the scene was in chaos, with many players cursing at each other and all kinds of dirty words flying around. If the noise keeps going on, no one will be able to sleep. "Is there anyone who will take care of it?" Lin Yang said dissatisfiedly. Suddenly, a door suddenly opened at the northeast end of each floor. I saw pairs of scarlet eyes dispelling the darkness like lanterns, accompanied by dull footsteps. At this moment, the scene suddenly became quiet. "What is that?" Lin Yang suddenly became curious. "A role like a prison guard." Su Yang frowned. The silence was only temporary, and the players started shouting again. "I was so scared that I thought it was some big monster. I've killed people before, why would I be afraid of a red-eyed ghost?" someone shouted. But the next moment, the red-eyed creature came to the door of his cage, stretched out its hand to grab the iron pillar on the cage, and broke it with force. Crunch! The extremely hard iron pillar was bent directly, leaving a huge gap. "You, what do you want to do?" The man was startled and shrank into the corner in fear. Then, a shrill scream echoed throughout the prison. Then Su Yang saw that the number of survivor players decreased by 1 and the number of deaths increased by 1. Chapter 15. So cruel. Su Yang couldn't help but take a deep breath. I originally thought that the warning was just a reminder and there would be no substantial punishment. The dead man thought so too. In his opinion, there must be an organization behind them who wants to see how they perform in the game. Treat it as a live show. Nothing will happen to him. But the result was beyond everyone's expectations. The unknown creature attacked directly and ruthlessly, and even bent the iron pillar as thick as a fist with ease. With the precedent of killing a chicken to scare the monkeys, the prison instantly became quiet. You can hear a pin drop. Soon, a pair of scarlet eyes appeared at Su Yang's door. With the faint light from the middle screen, he could see the creature's face clearly. It was covered with black hair, had 2 horns on its head, was nearly 3 meters tall, and gave off a strange smell. A cow. Su Yang's pupils shrank slightly. To be precise, it is an upright cow. The ends of his limbs were cow hooves, his muscles were bulging, and 2 streams of mist came out of his nostrils when he gasped. Su Yang's exclamation seemed to violate the rule of silence. The bull demon suddenly stopped in front of the cage and slowly turned around. At this moment, Su Yang saw that the pair of scarlet eyes became more and more fiery. "Those who break the rules will be killed." The bull demon spoke in human language and suddenly pressed its hooves against the iron pillar. "What?" Su Yang's breath was choked and his hair stood on end. Even the death game is not as scary as this bull monster. If it comes in, Su Yang will definitely be dead. Seeing it exert force suddenly, Su Yang suddenly had an idea and whispered, "I didn't say anything." Fraud talent activated successfully, manager action cancelled. Sure enough, the bull demon paused, slowly turned around and continued patrolling. After it walked away, Su Yang let out a long breath, gasping for breath, his back completely wet. Seeing this, Lin Yang hurriedly whispered, "What happened just now? Why did he leave suddenly? I guess he has a change of heart." Su Yang made up an excuse. "Monsters also have conscience." Lin Yang was puzzled. Su Yang's heart was pounding as he suddenly realized that his talent could be used not only in games. This also applies outside of gaming. If the use of talents requires a defined range, then all players in cell 881 are targets. More than half of the people didn't hear me when I spoke, so when I said I didn't speak, they believed it by default. In this way, can it directly affect the ranking? Su Yang's heart moved, and he lowered his voice and said, "I am the first in cell No 881. He immediately looked up at the screen, but found no changes. No. Su Yang thought for a while. Seeing this, he had a vague guess in his mind. The first place is an established fact and is known to all players. So there will be situations where lies are not believed. I have a pen. Immediately afterwards, a pencil appeared in Su Yang's hand. I have a notebook. The notebook appears. Su Yang immediately perked up, his eyes brightened and he said, Bai Dahua is sleeping on my bed. No way. Su Yang was not discouraged and continued, Hebe Kawa will sleep on my bed. Ichika Matsumoto sleeps on my bed. Su Yang slapped his forehead and said self-deprecatingly, what on earth am I fantasizing about? He suddenly remembered that everyone in the world was kidnapped inside. Correspondingly, these famous stars must also be in prison. Therefore, this does not constitute so-called lying in itself. I have a tank. I have a plane. I can punch through a cage. I'm Wolverine. Still can't do it. Su Yang rubbed his eyebrows. Finally, after hundreds of attempts, he came to a conclusion. Lying must first be based on a certain foundation or a certain rule. For example, in the game he can directly change the cards and the position of the bullets. These are all based on the player's cognition. Two people are playing Liar Tavern. The total number of cards they have is 10, and the total number of valid cards is 11, so it makes sense. The bullet itself can be taken out and loaded at will, and it is also reasonable to change the position of the bullet. In other words, as long as Su Yang is eloquent and constructs a brand new setting and cognition that players can accept, then his lies would come true. So, when all the players see how powerful the bull demon is, my lies may come true. Su Yang thought to himself. But there is a question, do other prisons also have managers? Su Yang, what are you talking about so late at night? Lin Yang asked while rubbing his sleepy eyes. It's okay, go to sleep. Su Yang covered himself with the quilt, lay on the soft pillow and closed his eyes. He began to look forward to the game which would start in 3 days. 3 days is neither long nor short. During this period, Su Yang was making plans for the next death game and thinking about how to maximize his talent advantage. It is difficult to come to a conclusion by just thinking. The more you think about it, the more confused you become. Writing down your thoughts will make them much clearer. One day Lin Yang asked Su Yang where the notebook and pen came from and why he didn't have them. Su Yang said it was given in the life gift package. Then Lin Yang spent a whole half day looking for it but couldn't find it, so he cursed the administrator for treating him differently. Finally, he watched in shock as Su Yang took out a brand new notebook from the gift bag. The rest of the time, apart from eating, sleeping, shitting, and exercising, all I did was listen to the smart guy in the prison cursing at me. As the time for the death game to start draws closer, the atmosphere in the prison becomes tense. The regular customers who had been cursing at each other had stopped shouting and were resting quietly. It is worth mentioning that the woman in the cage on Su Yang's right has never appeared, and she has only been lying on the bed. I always go to the toilet and take a shower in the middle of the night when the lights are turned off. Quite mysterious. Several times he approached her and asked her what game she was playing. The response was silence. Finally, with the sound of a bell, the familiar announcement appeared again. The second round of death game begins. Game name, Church Afterglow clearance conditions, kill all players from different camps or complete identity tasks. Clearance reward, 300 points. Number of players in this game, 16. Game starts in 10 minutes. Here it comes. Su Yang tore up the 10-page notebook, crumpled it into a ball, threw it into the pit and washed it away with water. Good luck to you. Lin Yang waved. What game are you playing? Su Yang asked tentatively. It seems to be called something like Ghostly Shadows. It sounds mysterious and must be related to ghosts. Lin Yang said frankly. At this time, the woman on the right said, you are so stupid, telling others everything. She finally got out of bed. From Su Yang's angle, he could only see half of his face. I don't know her exact appearance, but judging from her outline she should be pretty. What are you afraid of? He doesn't know my talent, right Su Yang? Lin Yang raised his chin. Sharing information will help us understand this incident. Su Yang nodded. That's right. If we are assigned to the same game, we can take care of each other. Lin Yang agreed. The woman sneered, what if the condition for passing the level is to kill everyone? Su Yang and Lin Yang were silent at the same time, then looked at each other and said in unison, no mercy. Chapter 16. Welcome to the church afterglow. When the dull bell sound suddenly rang out, echoing slowly and for a long time. The first time is new, the second time is familiar. Su Yang is not a rookie and is no longer nervous when encountering unfamiliar environments. He looked around and found that there was a square in front of him with a huge fountain in the center. The water gurgles, the setting sun shines on this ancient city, and the marble bricks and cobblestone roads reflect a golden color. The big trees on the roadside stand like guards, quietly standing next to the rest chairs. The overall style seems to be medieval English, with gorgeous architecture and vines climbing all over the walls. The air is filled with the fragrance of flowers, peaceful and quiet. There were 15 people standing around Su Yang, 8 men and 7 women. They also looked at the environment first, trying to adapt as quickly as possible. Where should we go now? Asked a slightly bloated middle-aged man. There is a church ahead. I think going inside should trigger the rule reminder. A thin man on Su Yang's left said. I agree. Since the game is called Church Afterglow, it must be related to the church. A woman nodded in agreement. Let's go and take a look first. After that, the 16 people headed towards the church together. During the trip, Su Yang paid close attention to everyone's legs. 2 of the men had very stable lower bodies, like they were martial artists. Have you ever served in the army or practiced martial arts? Su Yang kept the question to himself for the time being. When the group entered the church, the first thing that caught their eyes was a huge oil painting depicting a noble on horseback slaughtering civilians. In the middle of the spacious and bright hall, there is a long table with numbers marked on it. From 1 to 16, there is a name written under each number. Take your seat according to the number, someone asked curiously. You'll know if you give it a try. One of the men, who had a very stable lower body, found his name and sat down. His number is 4 Xiang Hao. What does this number mean? Is it a puzzle game? The thin man found his seat and sat down. Don't you think this is very similar to werewolf? Sit down for the meeting and speak in turn according to your numbers. A girl with bright eyes sat down with a smile. Werewolf doesn't need so many players, right? There are already 16 of them. Maybe it's a game similar to werewolf. Su Yang said slowly. He walked around and finally found his seat at the end of the table, facing the end of the hall. No, ate Su Yang. In the crowd, a plump middle-aged woman sat down next to Su Yang and said, games like werewolf are played by you young people. I have never played them. Is it difficult? She is number 7, Kong Feixiu. At this time, a young man wearing a white t-shirt given in the life gift pack on the other side of the table said with a smile, Don't worry, sister, I'm an expert in werewolf killing. I'll play with you and make sure you can get started quickly. Hehe, little brother is so sweet. Kong Feixiu giggled. It has to be said that her appearance is the best among the 7 women. There was another woman who was also good-looking, but her complexion was quite gloomy, which made people feel distant. She sat in seat 1, facing Su Yang, and whispered, We are all people who have survived a round of death games. Don't pretend now. It's really disgusting. Kong Feixiu was not angry at such a blunt attack, but the young man stood up and said, According to you, you are already familiar with the procedures of all death games. Only losers would seek shelter from others. Such people should die early. Yu spoke coldly without even raising his head. Okay, I want to see how many rounds you can survive. Johan's face suddenly became embarrassed. Xiang Hao glanced at her name, Yu, right? It's normal to ask if you don't know the process of the game. Why are you so radical? Yu was like a rose with thorns, refusing to give in and also glanced at his name. Xiang Hao, right? We're all going to kill each other later anyway, so instead of pretending to be nice, it's better to point it out early, so that some people won't get jealous and affect the victory of their camp. Johan flew into a rage when he heard this. Who are you calling a saint? Explain yourself clearly. I told you who knows what's going on. Yu looked calm and said slowly, What's going on? Has Miss Jo taken her seat? Miss? The corner of Su Yang's mouth twitched slightly. This kind of insulting rhetoric was very rare. The attack power is maxed out before the game even starts. People like Yu must be unpopular in the real world. But in the game of death, he must be the most selfish person and the one most likely to survive. You. Johan stood up angrily and pointed at her, gritting his teeth and laughing, I won't argue with you, you'd better be glad that you don't fall into my hands. I'm tired of hearing such low-level threats. Everyone who has said this has died in my hands. Yu raised her eyes and glanced at him. This look was full of murderous intent, like a winter demon, which was frightening. The atmosphere froze quickly, and the middle-aged fat man tried to smooth things over by saying, "We should all be from cell 881, right? Please tell us your rankings." However, no one responded, and the fat man didn't feel embarrassed, so he took the lead in introducing, "My current total score is 150, ranking 3762. Xiang Hao, total score 160, ranking 1876. Johan, total score 160, ranking 1888. Kong Feixiu, total score 180, ranking 523 his. Everyone couldn't help but gasp. This beautiful woman who seemed to have never touched women's clothes actually had such a high score? Johan was even more surprised. He had just said that he would guide the other person, but it turned out that the other person was more capable than him. What's wrong? Is 180 points a high number? Kong Feixiu looked puzzled. Su Yang looked at Yu and said with a half smile, "There are higher ones. We have someone ranked 11th. What? Who is it? Wouldn't ranking 11th be 200 points? Everyone followed Su Yang's gaze and thought, isn't that possible? What's so surprising? I'm not the only one with 200 points, he has two. Yu glanced at player number 16, Sun Wei. Sun Wei is an ordinary-looking boy, about the same age as Su Yang. Facing the surprised looks from everyone, he just waved shyly. From this perspective, there are players with both high and low points. Game matching probably has nothing to do with points, said the fat man. Don't worry about it. Just do it. Johan has a strong desire to show off and wants to interrupt in everything. Especially when he realized that his score was lower than Yu's, his self-esteem was greatly hit. Desperate to regain face. A moment later, an envelope suddenly appeared on everyone's desk. It should be a game hint. The fat man guessed. Su Yang opened the envelope and took out the papers inside. Before checking, he glanced at the status of the people present. After all, if there is a case like Zhao San's that allows him to peek at other people, he must be extremely careful. But after looking for a while, Su Yang found that everyone was carefully studying the contents on the paper and did not make any unnecessary moves. Only then did he feel relieved. However, when he looked down, a line of blood-red characters suddenly came into view. Your identity is dumb bird, be careful of everyone. Chapter 17. I am a stupid bird. Su Yang's face suddenly became strange. This identity doesn't sound very smart. What does beware of everybody mean? Is he a separate faction? Then I continued to read on and saw the rules of the game introduced on the paper. The camps are divided into humans, werewolves, and neutrals. Humans need to complete all daily tasks issued by the church to win, or kill all werewolves and falcons/pelicans. The werewolf needs to kill all humans and falcons/pelicans to win, or complete the werewolf exclusive mission to gain the mischief skill. Neutrals have their own tasks. Please see the identity introduction for details. There will be a bell ringing at 9 o'clock every night. During this time, you can enter the church to rest until 7 o'clock the next morning. This is a safe time. You can't hurt anyone. When you find a dead body, you can choose to call the police. After calling the police, all players must go to the church for a meeting within half an hour. During the meeting, the person who called the police will speak first, followed by people taking turns to speak according to their numbers. Each person is limited to speaking for 1 minute, and voting will take place at the end. During the voting phase, each player will be selected after a 3-second countdown. Not selecting a player will mean abstention from voting. The player with the highest number of votes, expelled. Now, please start your carnival feast. The text stops here, and the letter suddenly turns into ashes and flies away. What is the mission of Day Bird? Su Yang suddenly became curious. Judging from the name, this is definitely not a human camp. A werewolf is even more impossible. There is no fool who would pretend to be a wolf. Therefore, there is only one neutral camp left. According to the rules, neutrals have their own tasks, and completing them is considered a victory. Su Yang looked at the expressions of other people on the field and found that some of them were thoughtful, some were nervous, and some were calm. Everyone has obtained the identity, right? Where can I see the daily tasks? Asked the fat man. Let's look at the identity introduction first. I'm still a little confused. Johan suggested. Everyone nodded in agreement and then came to the stone tablet at the end of the church. The abilities and introduction of each identity are depicted on it. Humans: Justice Messenger, Sheriff, Canada Goose, Lover, Engineer, Detective, Birdwatcher, Politician, Adventurer, Avenger, Star Messenger, Undertaker. Werewolf: Professional Killer, Silent, Assassin, Informer, Party, Invisible, Serial Killer, Shapeshifter, Explosion King, Bird-Eating Duck. Neutral: Falcon, Duckling, Vulture, Dove, Pelican. That's not right. It doesn't say how many wolves and neutrals there are. Xiang Hao asked in confusion. If it's a board for 16 people, there should be 3 werewolves and 3 neutrals. There are so few werewolves? Then the werewolves' chances of winning seem slim. Johann pondered. Yu Yu glanced at him and said calmly, isn't it a good thing for good people that werewolves have a low chance of winning? You are a wolf, right? Johann's face darkened when he heard that. Don't spit bloody words at me. I was just complaining casually. I didn't mean anything else. However, the expressions of the people on the field looking at him were quite complicated. There is a hint of weirdness. Johann's eyes flashed with panic, and he hurriedly explained, I'm really not a wolf. God knows, if I were a wolf, my whole family would be killed when we go out. We are all playing games with our lives. Do you think this idiotic oath will work? Su Yang suddenly said. Besides, your whole family may have died out long ago. Who knows? Say it again. Johann's eyes instantly turned red, and he grabbed Su Yang by the collar and angrily said, your whole family is dead. Su Yang pushed him away and straightened his messy clothes. I hate players who get close to me the most. Your excuses are meaningless. You will know whether I am a wolf sooner or later. When that time comes, I hope to see your expression of repentance. Johann snorted coldly. Xiang Hao glanced at the introduction and asked, it should be impossible for werewolves to know each other's identities, right? That's right. The fat man nodded. In this case, wouldn't it be fine if everyone just reveals their identities now? Kong Feixiu said. No. Yu Yu was the first to reject it, pointing to the stone tablet and saying, there are tick marks and question marks on the identities listed here. What does it mean? Kong Feixiu asked curiously. If I'm not mistaken, the ones with tick marks are the identities that will definitely appear, and the ones with question marks are the identities that may appear. Yu Yu pointed at the assassin and continued, the assassin is ticked, which means each of us must not reveal our identity, otherwise we will be killed. Everyone looked over. Assassin, you have 2 chances per game to kill during the meeting by correctly guessing the specific identity of a player. If you guess wrong, you will be eliminated. So that's how it is. The Explosion King also checked the box, so we can't gather together. Xiang Hao pointed to the bottom of the stone tablet. Explosive King, can place bombs on other players. A good person has 4 checked identities, said the fat man. Sheriff, maintain order and enforce justice. Can kill any player. If the player killed is a good person, the sheriff will be eliminated. Messenger of Justice, use the sword of justice to cut off evil and kill any player without any consequences. Canada Goose, after being killed by a werewolf, the killer will automatically call the police after 1 second. Avenger, if you witness a murder, you gain the ability to defeat the person for a short period of time. There are only 2 neutral ones. Su Yang said. Dumb bird, being voted out by other players will win the game. Vulture, eat 5 eyeballs of a murdered person to win. If the other players find out and call a meeting, the bodies will be removed. The assassin cannot reveal his identity when he is present, and the Bomb King cannot gather together when he is present. I suggest that the 2 of them go together. If one side is missing someone, the murderer can be found immediately. Yu Yu suggested. No, I don't agree. Johann said loudly, what if my companion is a werewolf? I have no power to resist and can only wait for death. Then what do you want? Yu Yu's eyes flickered. Everyone can go their own way. Those who want to form a team can form their own team. This is the fairest way. Johann expressed his thoughts. Su Yang thought about it and felt that what he said made sense. If the werewolves stay in groups of 2, no one will notice when they kill someone, and the body may be eaten by vultures. In this way, all players may be killed by werewolves in less than a day. The werewolf doesn't know who his wolf teammates are. He won't kill people at will unless he is sure of your identity. Kong Feixiu agreed with Yu Yu's statement. Su Yang frowned, but what if the two people in the team happened to be werewolves? The field suddenly fell silent. Yes. What if there were two werewolves who killed someone and ran away, who would know who did it? See, was I right? Johan's proposal was approved. Although it was Su Yang, a hateful person, he still felt a sense of accomplishment. Okay then, move freely, but if you die, don't blame me for not warning you in advance. Yu Yu said in a cold voice. The plan was finalized, and everyone walked towards the mission announcement location at the church entrance. Whether we are alone or in a group, we must have a gun to protect ourselves. Su Yang thought to himself. Chapter 18. A group of people came to the church door and looked at the daily tasks posted there. Factory, close the valve court, seal documents marina, cleaning the deck old tavern, squash bugs warehouse, rearrange boxes. Only 5 tasks, this is too easy. Johan rolled up his sleeves and got to work. Wait, don't rush to answer it. We have to assign people to do the task first. Yu Yu grabbed his hand. What's there to assign? I can complete all 5 tasks by myself. Johan was very puzzled. He thought Yu Yu was going against him. Idiot! Yu Yu rolled her eyes at him, ignoring his anger, and said, obviously, these are simple single-player missions. What will happen if the person who accepts the mission is exposed to the vision of neutrals and werewolves? You mean, a sneak attack? Xiang Hao asked. That's right. Although we are acting freely, I suggest that we go in pairs to complete the mission. This is the most appropriate way. Yu Yu nodded. Why are you always thinking about sticking together? Are you a wolf? A tall and thin man in the crowd said dissatisfiedly. Yeah, why are you the one making the arrangements? Who do you think you are? Are you the sheriff? Why are you so arrogant? I won't listen to you. What can you do? Get out of the way. At a call, several men pushed her aside, tore off all 5 tasks, and threw one to Johan. The rules say that as long as the good guys complete their daily tasks, they'll win when the progress is completed. Why should we waste time here? The tall and thin man said. Yu Yu looked at him coldly without saying a word, but murderous intent gradually emerged in his eyes. Xiang Hao saw that a conflict was about to arise, so he stepped forward and said, let's put it this way. Those who are going to do the mission should do the mission, and if possible, try to find someone to accompany them. Seeing that the two sides were on the verge of a fight, Su Yang realized that now was a good time to lie. You all seem to have forgotten that it's not just the good guys who have missions, the werewolves also have missions to do. Yes, if the werewolves complete their mission, we good people will suffer. The fat man nodded in agreement. Do you have any good suggestions? The tall and thin man glanced over. When Su Yang saw that he had become the focus, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Now, it's his turn to perform. First of all, the werewolves themselves don't know what their mission is, so they will take the initiative to look for it. On the first day, they are likely to be hidden wolves. Secondly, each neutral party has its own mission, so they will secretly stir up trouble and disrupt the situation. The more people there are, the more chaos there will be. If they continue to make noise like this, it will only waste our time. Having said that, Su Yang paused and took the initiative to take over a task from the tall and thin man. So what? Kong Feixiu asked with interest. My identity is very strong. 2 good people come to complete the mission with me. Su Yang said. After these words were spoken, everyone had different expressions. They didn't expect that Su Yang would directly reveal his trump card. You have a gun. Yu Yu's gloomy face was slowly exposed in the sunset. A hint of suspicion appeared on her delicate face, and it was obvious that she was skeptical about this. Of course, since it's dangerous to go in pairs, it's better for 3 of us to go together. If there's a wolf among us, I can take action immediately. Su Yang nodded calmly. What if you are the wolf? Yu Yu pressed. It's very simple. Just find someone who also has a knife to compare with. Su Yang said calmly. I don't agree. What if it's a werewolf wearing the clothes of sheriff or justice? Johan objected. I can't rule out this possibility, but since I'm already exposed to your sight, if something goes wrong, I won't survive the second night. Su Yang said. After hearing this, everyone nodded slightly. This was indeed the only way at the moment. If you travel in pairs and your companion is a wolf, the risk is extremely high. No one is willing to risk his or her life to make a so-called good contribution. But it's different for the three of them. If Su Yang is really a wolf, they may not be the ones to be killed. Although there is a certain degree of luck involved, it is still a gamble. The only difference is that there is one more element in the bet: human nature. If no one among the good guys is willing to do the quest, and the werewolves do it, they will definitely lose. No one wants to die, no one is an exception. Okay, I agree with you. Yu nodded and walked into the church. No one else is allowed to come in. If anyone comes in, I'll treat them as wolves and beat them. The church is a safe zone and no one can be killed inside. Su Yang followed her in. Really? Judging from Yu's performance and expression, she is undoubtedly a good person. In offline werewolf games, you have to listen not only to the other person's words, but also to their demeanor and eyes when they speak. Yu fits the profile of a good person in every aspect, and he is evil in a righteous way. Therefore, Su Yang was not surprised at all when he heard her say that she wanted to fight with the sword. The two came to the table and stood 3 meters apart. Tell me, your identity is very strong, how strong is it? Yu asked first. How should I answer you when you ask this? Su Yang raised his eyebrows. Yu stared at him for a moment and asked, let me ask you another way. Are you always hard, or only hard for a while? Or should I be hard when I need to be hard, and soft when I need to be soft? I won't tell you directly. If you are an assassin, then I'm dead, right? Su Yang asked back. Then how do you want to fight with the sword? Yu patiently asked about it. Let's use the simplest method. Count to 3 and we will reveal our identities at the same time. Su Yang suggested. What if you are an assassin? Yu frowned. There's nothing I can do about it. This is the only way I can deal with the sword. I value my life too. Su Yang spread his hands. From a good person's perspective, I am indeed worried that this situation may occur. But if nothing is done, with Su Yang being the wolf, the good guys will be led by the nose. Once he gains a certain level of trust, the entire good team will be led astray. This is the so-called hook wolf gameplay. Come on, no more nonsense. Yu suddenly changed his attitude. Aren't you afraid that I'm an assassin? Su Yang raised his eyes slightly and said. I have my own way to verify your identity. A hint of confidence flashed in Yu's eyes. 3, 2, 1. Su Yang, the messenger of justice. Yu, messenger of justice. Heavy status? Su Yang's heart trembled slightly. This shouldn't be the case. Judging from Yu's tough attitude, she must be able to lead a team with a strong character if she carries a gun. There is no other option except the sheriff. Before Su Yang could get nervous, Yu nodded, patted his shoulder and walked out. Go out. Su Yang had a strange look on his face, but as he looked at her swaying figure, he suddenly realized something. So that's how it is, she is also making up her identity. Su Yang understood. Now he is 100% sure that Yu is the sheriff. But Su Yang was very curious, what exactly was the method she used to verify her identity? When the two returned outside, Yu immediately attracted many curious looks. Faced with hope, she nodded. When these words came out, everyone was slightly surprised. He really has a gun. I guess the two of them faced off, but there was no conflict. Great. We good people are saved. Fraud talent is activated successfully. Obtain, Browning 1911 Pistol *1. Chapter 19. Some are happy and some are dissatisfied. The tall and thin man emerged from the crowd and asked loudly, how do you prove that you are not a wolf? What if you two are in cahoots with each other? I can't prove my identity for now, but I have a way to prove his identity. Yu said coldly. What is it? The next moment, Yu suddenly grabbed Su Yang's shoulders, with white light flashing in her pupils. It was like an X-ray, scanning his entire body. Under everyone's gaze, they saw the gun hidden in his body. FK, what kind of talent is this? It can even take pictures of weapons. The fat man was shocked. Do you believe it now? Yu asked. It's just a gun, there's nothing special about it. The tall and thin man still insisted. Are you suffering from paranoid delusions? If you are afraid, just hide in the church and never come out again. Su Yang couldn't stand it any longer. Clay figurines also have 3/4 of firearms. This guy keeps saying he's a wolf. It was obvious that they wanted to kill him. This type of people either have a rebuttal personality or are as timid as a mouse. Of course, there are two other possibilities, wolf or neutral. It's impossible to figure out the truth even if you stand here for 10 days or half a month. Since you two have guns, find someone else to do the task. Xiang Hao said. I have no objection. Yu nodded slightly. Add me one more. Sun Wei volunteered. Su Yang was quite surprised that he took the initiative to stand up. As a player in the top 100 of the ranking, he must be quite capable. But he never expressed any opinion from beginning to end, just stood silently among the crowd. Don't you want to make yourself the focus? Su Yang thought. Unlike him, Su Yang wants to make himself the focus. The more a person jumps, the easier it is for him to be noticed and observed. This makes it easier for him to be voted out during the voting process. Okay, those who have to do their tasks should do their tasks, and the rest of you should go find food and water and go back to the church to rest at 9 o'clock in the evening. Xiang Hao said. The tall and thin man wanted to say more, but Su Yang hit him hard on the shoulder, causing him to spin half a circle on the spot. UFGBD. The tall and thin man was about to curse when he saw a black gun barrel. If you keep talking, I'll kill you. Su Yang's eyes were full of murderous intent. As the saying goes, a gun is faster than a gun at 7 steps away, but it is faster than a gun at 7 steps away. The tall and thin man was almost frightened to death and ran away in panic. Waste. Su Yang spat. Some people just can't be treated nicely and have to be taught a lesson before they behave themselves. Why didn't you just kill him? Yu suddenly asked a question. There's no need to waste bullets on a useless person. Su Yang responded. The speaker may not have any intention, but the listener may take it seriously. Sun Wei's ears moved and his eyes flickered. The three people were tasked with sorting boxes in the warehouse, which, according to the map, was located in the south of the town, close to the dock. So they braved the salty sea breeze and quickly found the location of the warehouse. As soon as I pushed open the door and walked in, I smelled a strong smell of sewer and decay. What the hell is this place? It stinks. Su Yang fanned himself and coughed twice. Yu looked at the intricate boxes placed everywhere in the warehouse and opened his mouth. The workload is a bit heavy. It's 6:30 in the afternoon. Do it early and be able to go back before 9. Ladies first. Su Yang bowed very gentlemanly. Yu rolled her eyes at him, picked up the cardboard directly, put them into a box, and placed them on the corresponding shelf. Sun Wei smiled shyly and joined the work without saying much. I should have changed the mission earlier. Su Yang shook his head helplessly and walked forward. The smell was no joke, like hundreds of dead rats. Su Yang is not afraid of anything else but stench. I originally just wanted to stand out and show off, but I didn't expect to get myself into trouble. It's worth it for a gun. With this thought in mind, Su Yang gritted his teeth and started working. These cardboards were all stained with unknown liquid, and a pungent smell rushed straight to my head. It's so sour and refreshing. He once suspected that it was corpse water. Su Yang worked slowly, but Yu's hands were extremely fast and she could complete one in 10 seconds. Sun Wei was not to be outdone and was only a few seconds slower than her. It took Su Yang about 30 seconds to finish one, and he even ran out to vomit during the process. In response, Yu just gave him a look of disdain. As if to say, weakling. How could Su Yang bear this? I held my breath and worked hard to the death. But after holding it in for a while, he couldn't hold it in any longer and took a deep breath. His face instantly turned green to purple. Vomit. Yu's eyes were filled with even more disdain. I've never seen a man as delicate as you. Su Yang dragged his heavy body back to the warehouse and waved his hand, saying, it stinks. It does stink a bit, but you're exaggerating. Yu smelled her hand and felt it was okay and acceptable. Have you ever smelled stinky socks? They are 10 times stinkier than that. Su Yang was completely convinced. This was not a job for humans. It's not that serious. Yu suddenly had an idea and asked with a scrutinizing look, are you just making up an excuse because you don't want to work? Sister, am I so shameless? Am I that kind of person? Su Yang touched his face and felt much more haggard. Very much. Su Yang. Never mind, he didn't want to argue. People's physiques cannot be generalized. I'm going to the bathroom. Sun Wei said in a low voice. Go ahead and come back early. Some people are being lazy. We too have to work harder. Yu nodded. Su Yang leaned against the door, his face looking gloomy. Sun Wei left in a hurry with a tissue in his hand. He looked so anxious that it seemed like he was about to explode. Diarrhea. Su Yang seemed to have figured out something. What's wrong? Yu asked. The food we eat is all delivered, right? Su Yang frowned. You think too much. Having a stomachache is a normal thing. Come to work and stop talking nonsense. Yu wrinkled her nose in dissatisfaction. I hope so. Su Yang still felt something was wrong. When he walked into the warehouse, he miraculously found that it didn't stink anymore. I can't say it doesn't stink, I can only say that the degree has been reduced tenfold. To a point where it is completely acceptable. So Su Yang worked hard and tried to go back and rest early. Yu noticed his performance and nodded with satisfaction. 10 minutes later, a gunshot was heard outside. Bang! Su Yang suddenly raised his head and looked outside the door, then exchanged a glance with Yu and said, Go out and take a look. The two immediately ran out of the warehouse and headed towards the direction of the gunshot. When I arrived at the scene, I found that many players had gathered there. Who's dead? Su Yang looked carefully and found that the dead person was a woman. Her head was smashed and her face could not be seen clearly. It's number 9 Su Qing. A person beside him said solemnly. Hearing the familiar voice, Su Yang turned around. It was Sun Wei. Didn't you go to take a shit? Why are you here? Su Yang looked suspicious. Chapter 20. 10 minutes is enough time for a lot of things to happen. If you have diarrhea, 10 minutes may not even be enough. But strangely, Sun Wei arrived at the location of the body before them. Is there any undertaker on the scene? Come over and verify his identity. Xiang Hao asked loudly. However, no one responded. Just call the police. One person leaned over and touched the corpse. When the sound of the bell rang through the town at night and could be heard far away. Let's go back to the meeting. Xiang Hao walked towards the church with heavy steps. Yu followed closely behind, and whispered to Sun Wei as she passed by him, You'd better explain it clearly later. In her and Su Yang's eyes, Sun Wei has become the first suspect. When the 12 people entered the church, there were already 2 people sitting inside. They are Johan and Kong Feixu respectively. Where is the dead person? Johan asked with a serious expression. Your first reaction is to ask where the person died, instead of asking whether someone died. Su Yang said slowly. Nonsense, if the police were called, it means someone must have died. Is there any need to ask? Johan said loudly. Su Yang glanced at him twice and didn't say much. Go back to your seat and sit down, waiting for everyone to arrive. No one spoke during this time, and everyone remained silent. The atmosphere gradually became weird, with a cloud of doubt hanging over everyone's head. Suddenly, there was a rustling sound on the table, and a line of bloody words appeared, all players are in place, starting with number 11. What? Everyone was shocked and looked towards the empty space. Except for number 9 next to Su Yang, number 3 is also empty. If they remembered correctly, number 3 was the tall and thin man who had been shouting in the afternoon. He died too? We only heard 1 gunshot, but 2 people died. Su Yang frowned. Number 11 is a slightly plump girl with a few freckles around her nose and wearing a pair of thick transparent glasses. She stood up slowly, and the hourglass on the table suddenly turned over. 1 minute countdown begins. I was the second person to see the body. The body was located in the city square. I came down from the barber shop to find some daily necessities and saw number 4 next to the body. I thought there was only 1 body, but I didn't expect there were 2 dead. I remember number 3 had an argument with number 8 before. I think both number 8 and number 4 are suspects of murder. The chubby girl sat down after she said this. When it is a player's turn to speak, other players are muted and cannot speak or stand up. They can only extract key information from the speech and analyze the murderer. After number 11 finished speaking, it was No 12's turn. She was a woman wearing tight sportswear, with a curvy figure but a plain appearance. No 11's remarks were not good. Who can prove that you went to the barber shop? Why do you dare to wander around alone? Aren't you afraid of being caught by wolves? She glanced at number 11 and continued, also, since number 4 was the first to arrive at the body, did you see the murderer? If not, please explain why you stood there for so long without calling the police. Also, Why did number 3 die? Where did he die? If anyone saw it, please tell me. From what I can see, NOS 4, 8, and 11 are all suspects, at least neutral or below. After saying that, she sat down directly. Number 13 Wang Yao stood up and said, Number 12, what is your identity to be here? What about your own movements? Why don't you say who was with you? Who did you see before and after the gunshot? You don't say anything. What is your background? Let me first tell you about my route. I went to the supermarket with number 15 to get food and water. I also carried a few quilts back and forth. Finally, I went to the toilet. I heard gunshots and called the police not long after. Number 15 and I can protect each other. I have seen everyone except number 1, 8, and 16. The last time I saw number 3 was an hour before I called the police. He walked to the old tavern alone. That's all the information I have, bye. She went to the bathroom before calling the police. A gleam of light flashed in Su Yang's eyes. The map shows that there is only one public toilet in the town, in the red light district in the southeast corner. Coincidentally, Sun Wei also went to the toilet before calling the police. The two of them didn't meet. Number 14 is a middle-aged man who looks to be in his 50s. He stood up and said, I worked in a factory before and had some experience repairing machines. I took on the task of closing the valves in the factory. It took me about an hour. I went to the toilet on the way and saw number 6. We said hello. Before calling the police, I was drinking in the old pub and had never seen no 3. Number 15 is a petite girl. She said, my information is the same as number 13. After moving the things, she went to the toilet, and I sorted out food and water at the door. I heard the gunshot and I ran over. Sun Wei stood up, glanced at number 13, and said, number 2 and number 10 and I arrived at the death scene at the same time. For the first 2 hours, number 1 and number 8 and I were working in the warehouse, and we didn't see anyone. I went to the bathroom before calling the police, but I didn't see number 13. She's lying. After listening to so many speeches, I think number 14, number 4 and number 11 all had ample opportunities to kill. In addition, number 5 Johan and number 7 Kong Feixiu are also suspects. Yu Yu glanced at Su Yang inconspicuously, and she remembered the doubts mentioned by the other party. She didn't take it seriously at first, but when she saw Sun Wei at the scene, she felt that he was very suspicious. He immediately stood up and said, the movements of number 16 and number 13 conflict. Number 13 said that he went to the toilet, and number 16 also said that he went there. It takes 10 minutes from the red light district to the city square, and 5 minutes from the warehouse to the red light district. Excuse me, number 16, how did you manage to go to the red light district to have S*X and then run to the scene within 10 minutes? Number 8 and I have never left the warehouse, and we have never seen anyone else. I think number 16 is very suspicious. He did not explain clearly. I will vote for him this time. It was number 2 Guo Bing's turn to speak. He was one of the 2 men with a very stable lower body. The only difference between him and Xiang Hao is that he has a scar on his face, making him look ferocious. I didn't have any information. I was cleaning the deck at the dock by myself until I called the police. Paddling? Su Yang marked it. Finally it was number 4 Xiang Hao's turn to speak. He had been holding back for a long time. I took on a bug squashing mission at an old tavern, which I finished in 10 minutes. Afterwards, I went back to the church to rest and slept for an hour and a half. When I woke up, I wanted to help out at the warehouse, and I saw No 9's body when I passed by the city square. I didn't see who did it. There was no one around, and I didn't see anyone on the way there. The reason I didn't call the police right away was because I was worried that someone would suspect I had stabbed a Canada goose. The second reason was that I wanted to wait for the undertaker to come and do an autopsy. People who have returned to the church can vouch for me, but I don't know why they never mentioned me in their speeches. Xiang Hao's voice was full of grievance, but his tone was righteous. It was number 5 Johan's turn. He first glanced at Yu Yu and Su Yang, then smiled coldly, as if there was only one truth. Although I was not there, No 4's speech was very positive, and I can recognize him as a good person. After listening to them all, everyone has their doubts, but if we look at the course of action, things become very simple. 2 people died, number 3 and number 9. It's obvious that 2 people committed the crime. Before calling the police, there were people in the barber shop, the old pub, the factory, the red light district, the church, and the dock. Xiang Hao didn't see the murderer, so he must have run to a deserted place. Think about it, everyone. If there are people in all directions, which place is the blind spot? And there happened to be 2 people with guns in the blind spot. As soon as these words were spoken, all eyes turned to Su Yang and Yu Yu. It's obvious that the murderers are number 1 and no 8. Johan said firmly. Chapter 21. As soon as the words were spoken, the way people looked at Su Yang and Yu Yu changed instantly. The reason is simple, murderers will always be despised. Especially werewolves. Johan glanced at the hourglass. He still had time to speak, so he continued, why did Su Yang dare to reveal that he had a gun on the first day? He did this to create an identity for himself. And number 1, why would she dare to fight with an unknown person? In my opinion, this is just 2 werewolves competing for identity, that's all. As for the so-called identity check later, it was completely nonsense. As soon as they opened their mouths, everything they said seemed reasonable. What a coincidence! You, Su Yang, accepted a mission in the most remote location of the town. Your purpose is to stay away from the public's sight so that you can kill people secretly. What a pity! The law is long and there is no loophole. I have seen through all your schemes and tricks. Number 8, are you going to explode? After he finished speaking, the last grain of sand in the hourglass fell, and the speaking time ended. Johan sat down calmly, full of confidence and a look as if he was sure of victory. With clear ideas and solid arguments, he believed that his speech would impress the players present. You are really smart. Su Yang was not angry at all when someone threw dirty water at him, but was happy instead. He suddenly felt that it was a good thing to anger someone who played with his emotions. Dumb bird needs to be dirty by people like this. Originally he didn't know how to speak later, but after listening, his thoughts became clear. However, Fatty number 6 disagreed. I think No 5's desire to attack is too strong, and it also involves personal grudges. If according to what number 5 said, number 8 and number 1 killed the person, then where is No 3's body? Also, number 16 mentioned a key point. He was in the warehouse the whole time and only went to the toilet 10 minutes before calling the police. 10 minutes to run from the warehouse to the city square, kill 2 people, run back to the warehouse, and then run from the warehouse to the city square again. Is number 8 sprinter or bolt? Everyone laughed and found the loophole. Reasoning from the perspective of speed, this is not true. First, we need to clarify the first suspicious point. Number 13 saw number 3 entering the old tavern, but number 14 entered the old tavern about an hour after work. But the 2 of them never met each other. Don't you think it's strange? Where did number 3 go? No one saw him during this period. So either he was eaten by vultures or by pelicans. Or maybe it was done by a professional killer. Don't forget, with this identity, there will be no corpse after killing someone. Alternatively, it could be that the bird-eating ducks killed the man and then ate the body. In my opinion, number 14 is a strong suspect. He is very likely the murderer of number 3. As for who killed number 9? The fat man looked around and fixed his eyes on number 4, I think number 4 is the most suspicious. After the speeches, it was number 7 Kong Feixiu's turn. She stood up, swaying her voluptuous figure, her charming eyes were like spring water in the world, full of spring love. I said at the beginning that I'm not very good at playing this type of game, so I didn't go anywhere and just did tasks in the court. After completing the task, I wanted to go back to the church to rest, but I ran into number 5 and called the police. Let me think about it. I didn't run into anyone along the way. I seem to have seen number 2 passing by the court entrance. That's all the information I have. Finally it was Su Yang's turn. He was the last to speak and was labeled a werewolf by Johan. Therefore, his speech is of vital importance. All eyes were focused on this. Su Yang stood up and said righteously, we can't use number 1. Number 1 is good. She and I have been in the warehouse and have never been anywhere. We are not suspected of murder. No 5's speech is completely brain dead. He only considers the root but not the logic. Among so many people in 2 hours, only a few of them have met each other. You don't find it strange, but instead you come at me, the external card. And number 5 didn't talk about his route. You were the last person to meet number 7. So what did you do during these 2 hours? I think number 5 is highly suspicious, and his speech is not good either. He is definitely neutral or below. I will pay for him not being a wolf. One last thing, you can't play number 1. Play me first before no one. Su Yang's voice became louder and louder, more and more passionate, and his resounding voice almost overturned the ceiling of the church. His speech was just like what he said, strong and hard. Finally, it was the last person's turn to speak. Number 10 is a thin man with a slightly bald head and a slightly crooked mouth. Let's return to the voting position to speak. The situation is actually very clear. No 5 speech is probably stupid. Don't pay attention to it. I think the comments of number 16 and number 8 are very correct, but number 2 is just slacking off, which is a bit suspicious. I don't know how number 9 died, no 3's death was too strange, and I saw number 13. She was running back and forth between the supermarket and the church. I believe what number 13 said. Number 14 definitely killed number 3 in the old tavern. All votes to send number 14 away. Johan is a stupid bird? Then what am I? Su Yang was stunned for a moment. His words were so clear, but this person didn't even doubt it. I can only say that I am still not as good as talented players in terms of abstraction. Johan is a born idiot. I really can't beat people without brains. At this time, the rustling sound came from the table again. A line of blood words appeared again. The speeches are over, and voting will begin in 1 minute. The player with the most votes, expelled. This minute is still the silent stage and no one can speak. You can only rely on intuition or analysis to determine who the murderer is. Su Yang was in an external position throughout the whole process, and after listening to everyone, he felt that everyone was suspicious. Of course, he is a dullard, neutral among neutrals. But he also has to maintain a balance between the good guys and the werewolves. One side cannot be allowed to have too much of an advantage, otherwise it will be a massacre and he will have no chance of winning. If number 9 was not killed by Sun Wei, then where was he doing? Su Yang fell into deep thought. A minute passed quickly. As the countdown of 3, 2, 1 appeared on the table, all the players raised their hands and pointed at the moment it ended. The ticket type has been determined. There are 9 votes on number 14, which are number 1, number 4, number 6, number 7, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, number 15, and number 16. There is 1 vote for number 5, from Su Yang. Su Yang has 1 vote, which comes from Johan. Number 16 Sun Wei has 2 votes, 1 from number 14 and 1 from number 2. Number 14, expulsion. You, how could you vote for me? I did the factory's task, what did you think? Number 14 turned pale and cried out in injustice. Everyone watched it coldly. Although they were not at the scene, they could catch clues from the words spoken by each player. This is how to play werewolf. Listen to the speech, understand the identity, and analyze the logic. No, don't expel me, I'm a good person, I didn't kill anyone. Number 14 quickly got up from the chair and ran out of the church in a hurry. However, he didn't run far before he suddenly stopped where he was. I saw my legs begin to turn into stone and spread towards my head at an extremely fast speed. In just a blink of an eye, he turned into a stone man running. It is quite similar to the posture of nobles slaughtering civilians in the huge oil painting in the church. This is expulsion. Chapter 22. When at 9 o'clock, the church becomes a safe zone and the break period begins. The atmosphere on the field was strangely quiet. All eyes were on the sculpture number 14. The terrified expression before death is vivid and lifelike. He was expelled. Xiang Hao said in a deep voice. Well, there is a high possibility that he is the murderer. Yu nodded. If he is the murderer of number 3, then who killed no 9, asked the thin man. 10 people voted for number 14, but only 9 votes were shown on him, which means the pelicans or falcons are still there. The fat man frowned. Yu stared at Sun Wei intently. Now there is plenty of time to speak. Can you explain what happened in those 10 minutes? I went to the toilet, but I didn't poop. Sun Wei said. What do you mean? Why did you go to the toilet? Looking for shit. Johan jumped out and asked. Shut up, you stupid bird, and listen to him. The fat man said impatiently. You are the FG idiot, I am a good person. Johan immediately jumped up and said. Sun Wei pondered for a moment, glanced at Su Yang, and hesitated to speak. Su Yang looked puzzled. Why are you looking at me? Does your stomach upset have anything to do with me? I saw you coming out of the port in the red light district, so I changed my mind and followed you to see where you were going. Sun Wei said. This statement was like a bombshell. Everyone's eyes suddenly widened in surprise. Am I right? You are indeed the murderer. Johan was extremely excited and his face turned red. Impossible, he never left my sight. Yu was the first to deny it. You two are in the same group, condoning and shielding each other. Johan insisted. Yu ignored it and just thought Johan was just barking. Sun Wei pondered and said, I find it strange too. I must be faster running from the warehouse to the red light district than Su Yang going around the dock and out of the port. But I lost him after a while, and then I heard gunshots. Is there any need to ask? He must have a talent for acceleration. Johan said loudly. Doc. Su Yang raised his eyebrows and looked at number 2 Guo Bing. I remember you said you were doing missions at the dock and didn't go anywhere else, right? Yeah, I haven't met anyone else either. Guo Bing nodded. Then why did number 7 see you at the door of the court? Su Yang asked with interest. She's lying. Guo Bing said firmly. Maybe I saw it wrong. Kong Feixiu smiled apologetically. The fat man glanced at Sun Wei and asked, Are you sure you saw number 8 himself? I'm sure. Sun Wei said seriously. Whoever has a gun, drag him out and shoot him. Johan shouted. Shut up. Yu stood up suddenly and said with a stern face, If you yell again, I will kill you. Johan saw this and quickly jumped behind Xiang Hao and shouted, Did you see that? She is so angry. I caught both wolves. She is anxious. Xiang Hao shook his head helplessly, grabbed Johan's neck, covered his mouth and said, Could it be a transformed wolf? It's possible that the werewolf transformed into Su Yang and killed people in order to frame him. After all, he had a gun and everyone knew it. The fat man nodded seriously. Johan struggled hard, but couldn't get out of the devil's clutches. It's very likely. Maybe he knew that someone was following him, but pretended not to see it and continued killing people. His purpose was to make number 16 speak it out at the meeting. The fat man nodded in agreement. Then why don't you say it? Su Yang was confused. Such a good opportunity, but someone framed him for no reason. It's pie in the sky. Sun Wei actually hid it until after the meeting. This is a godsend opportunity, why didn't he tell me? I'm afraid if I tell them, they will vote you out. Sun Wei said shyly. Thank you. Su Yang forced a smile. He was so depressed that he almost vomited blood. What we want is to vote him out. This hard-earned opportunity slipped through my fingers. Su Yang started planning from the beginning, exposing the fact that he had a gun in order to let the werewolf find a way to frame him. Now, not only is the opportunity gone, but his identity as a good person has been further confirmed. No, there is a prerequisite for the wolf to transform. It needs to have physical contact with the person being transformed. As far as I remember, no one has touched you, right? The fat man noticed something wrong. Su Yang recalled and shook his head, except Yu, no one has had physical contact with me. Then there's no chance of transforming into a wolf, said the fat man. Johan finally broke free from Xiang Hao's restraints, blushing and saying, Where did the deformed wolf come from? You are the wolf. Tie him up. Su Yang couldn't stand this idiot anymore. How did he survive the first round of the death game with his brain? Are the people he plays with all old men and women who are about to die? Or are they just a bunch of retards? Let's see who dares. Johan jumped back and was extremely alert. You can't figure it out this way. Let's go to bed tonight and we can talk about it tomorrow if there's anything. Yu said. Everyone nodded slightly in agreement. It was already late and they hadn't eaten all day. The hunger and fatigue were hard to bear. Su Yang, Sun Wei, the two of you come with me and deal with the remaining cardboard boxes in the warehouse. Yu said. Okay. Sun Wei agreed. Su Yang did not refuse. The three of them walked out of the church and headed towards the warehouse in the moonlight. On the way, Sun Wei glanced at Su Yang, who was worried, and smiled, Don't thank me, I'm just helping a good person. Who wants to thank you? I really want to kill you. I was wondering if it wasn't a wolf transforming talent, could it be a transformation talent? Su Yang speculated. Yu slowed down her pace and turned to look at Su Yang, who do you think it is? Number 13. I also feel that she is very suspicious. I just forgot to ask her where she went last. Yu frowned. She also said that she went to the red light district, but Sunway didn't see her. Judging from their walking speed, it is very likely that they met each other. Su Yang said. If she was the one who killed number 9, then it makes sense. A murderous look flashed in Yu's eyes. It's better to kill someone by mistake than to let him go. I'll do it tomorrow. Su Yang suggested. How can we be sure that she is the murderer? Sunway wondered. Su Yang pursed his lips. Did you forget that number 1 can verify your identity? CD should be able to do it tomorrow. Okay. Yu nodded. The three of them then went to the warehouse and sorted out the last few cartons. All 5 daily tasks on the first day were completed, and the progress bar increased by 1/5. In other words, we only need 4 more days to achieve victory. On the way back, Su Yang suggested taking a route around the dock to simulate the murderer's route. Yu and Sunway had no objection. So the three of them came to the dock and looked at the large and small ships on the shore with a lot of doubts. Guo Bing's task is to clean the deck. There are so many ships here. How long will it take? It seems that he did not lie. Sunway said. That means Kong Feig's you lied. Why did she say that? Su Yang seemed to have caught a clue. But it's not clear enough, he needs more information. Chapter 23. The three of them stood on the dock and looked at the boundless sea. There was the sound of waves crashing beside my ears, and the bright moon above my head was shining with silver light. The scene was supposed to be romantic. But Su Yang had no intention of watching it, his mind was full of thoughts about killing murderer number 9. As a stupid bird, he has missed the best opportunity to win the game. Next, every step must be deployed well without any mistakes. Otherwise he will be doomed. Let's go and take a look at the port. Su Yang said. The three continued forward, simulating the murderer's route through the port and into the red light district. That's the toilet. I walked over here this afternoon and saw the murderer's back. Sunway said, standing in the corner. Su Yang motioned for him to move aside and stood in his position looking towards the toilet. From this angle, there is a corner ahead and the visibility is not good. If the murderer intentionally hides, you will not be able to find him at all. Su Yang analyzed. Yu also stood over to take a look and nodded, unless he is waiting for someone here on purpose. He had planned to frame you a long time ago. Sunway was shocked. The plan should have been thought of when I got the identity. Su Yang shook his head. Frame me just on a whim. If I hadn't shown my gun in the afternoon, he could have disguised himself as Yu, or he could have disguised himself as you. That makes sense. If he succeeds in framing Yu, he can just pretend to be someone with a gun and take Yu away. Sunway touched his chin. That's right, Yu and I are bound together. If I were a wolf and was identified as a murderer, then all the players who did the mission with me would not be able to escape responsibility. Su Yang nodded slightly. What a vicious plot. He wants to kill the three of us. Sunway felt a chill down his spine when he thought of the consequences. Su Yang uncovered the conspiracy bit by bit. He found that the murderer was very cunning. If he failed to frame him this time, he would definitely continue to think of other ways. If the werewolf wants to win, besides killing people, causing the good guys to fight among themselves is also a perfect way. If the werewolf really succeeds, he won't even have to do anything. The good guys will just kill each other and he will reap the benefits. If Sunway tells this, I will be kicked out and Yu will have a hard time getting away. The good guys have lost 2 guns at once, so we can basically be declared the loser. Su Yang said. If number 14 was killed by a wolf, then there are still 2 wolves and a neutral creature that can kill people at the scene. Yu frowned. Not necessarily. Number 3 and number May 9th also be wolves. Sunway's heart sank. We have to prepare for the worst. My talent is Eye of True Vision, which can only be activated once a day. We must test number 13 tomorrow. Yu said. Go back and rest first, and get enough energy. Su Yang walked forward. But before they had gone far, a suppressed gasp was suddenly heard. Someone. Who would come out at this hour of night for no reason? There is a toilet inside the church, and it is impossible for a normal person to run out of the safe zone at this time. SHH. Su Yang made a gesture to keep quiet. Yu and Sunway looked at each other and nodded quietly. The three of them moved lightly towards the direction where the sound came from, as slow as a turtle, for fear of alarming the people inside. Half a minute later, Su Yang discovered that the sound came from the toilet. Going to the toilet. Su Yang felt that he was overthinking, his nerves were too tense, and he was somewhat paranoid. However, at this moment, the panting sound suddenly turned into a conversation between a man and a woman. "Stop, what did you just shout at me?" Although the woman lowered her voice deliberately, one could still hear the questioning tone in her voice. "Yura. Bullshit, you were clearly calling Fixu just now, don't think I didn't hear you, you actually thought I was that SYBCH. Cheng Yura was very angry. "I just had a brainstorm, don't take it seriously." The man smiled awkwardly. "None of you men are good. You are always greedy. You have been bewitched by that SY woman, haven't you? Don't think I didn't see that you almost stared at her during the meeting. If you like her so much, go find her." Cheng Yura snorted in dissatisfaction. "She is not as good as you. Look at her skin. Water will come out if you pinch it lightly." The man chuckled. "Look at your dead face. I'm not accompanying you for free today. Remember to protect me." A trace of disgust flashed in Cheng Yura's eyes, but she still spoke with a smile. "Don't worry, I learned martial arts from a master when I was young, so beating up 3 pretty boys like Su Yang is no problem." The man patted his chest. "Why mention him? I have nothing to do with him." Cheng Yura felt a little guilty. "I see that the way you look at him seems like you want to swallow him into your stomach. Don't think I don't know." The man slapped him hard. "Hey, be gentle, aren't you afraid someone will hear you using so much force? Who would come to the public toilet so late at night? What does it have to do with me?" Su Yang looked puzzled. The two of them were so passionate about each other, how could he be involved? Yu and Sun Wei on the side looked at him strangely. He seemed to be suspecting that he was having an affair with Cheng Yura. Su Yang didn't want to explain anything and quietly looked into the toilet through the gap. "I saw a naked man covering the woman in front of him, and only her back could be seen. Could it be Xiang Hao?" In Su Yang's impression, Xiang Hao was a righteous man who looked honest and didn't look like someone who would do anything bad. The world is in decline and people's hearts are no longer the same as they used to be. Su Yang shook his head. "The full name of this woman named Yu Ro is Cheng Yu Ro, number 12. Su Yang remembered that she was wearing a tights and looked very heroic when she was speaking, but he didn't expect that she was so coquettish behind the scenes. The two of them sneaked out to meet each other late at night, and Cheng Yura actually sold herself for protection. Isn't she afraid that this man is a wolf? Or is she the wolf? She is pretending to be weak?" Su Yang shook his head. He felt that he had understood human nature too much and made himself a little neurotic. "Everyone looks like a bad guy. Let's go." Yu opened her mouth but didn't say anything. Su Yang and Sun Wei nodded, not intending to alarm the people inside. Then a man and a woman walked forward in front, crouching down, and Su Yang followed behind. Just as he was passing by the toilet door, he heard a crucial piece of information. "Who are you? Tell me and I'll tell you mine too." The man said, panting. "I won't tell you. You and I are so close, and you don't even have this little bit of trust. Who knows if you are a bad guy or not? Anyway, I can't tell you my identity, but I can tell you the identity of No 11. Number 11? That chubby girl with freckles?" Su Yang paused and eavesdropped. "Who is she?" The man paused and immediately became interested. "Canada Goose. You won't lie to me, will you? I exchanged my true feelings with her this afternoon, and she told me so. No wonder she was hanging around the barber shop, it turns out she wanted to get her hair done where there were a lot of people." The man suddenly realized. "Hurry up, damn, I'm so sleepy. Hey hey." Su Yang listened for a while and walked forward after finding no information. "So she is Canadian, interesting." Chapter 24. When the three returned to the church, they found the table filled with mineral water bottles and packaging bags left over from meals. The players lay on cardboard and covered their bodies with blankets to rest. "You just came back? Have you finished the task?" Xiang Hao, who had just finished taking a shower, wiped his hair with a towel. "Done." Sun Wei nodded. "Eat something. You've been hungry all day." Xiang Hao left a word and cleaned up the garbage on the table. Sun Wei looked at his broad back and said, "Brother Hao is very warm-hearted." Yu sneered and said, "You can't judge a person's heart by his appearance." I have seen many people with beastly hearts, and they all look like this. Sun Wei wanted to argue a few words, but thinking back to his experience in the first round of the death game, he shut his mouth silently and walked to the storage box to look for food. What are you thinking about? Yu glanced at Su Yang, who was in a daze. Nothing, let's eat. Su Yang took some bread and a box of milk and sat down. While eating, he glanced at the place where the players were resting. After counting carefully, I found there were only 8 people. Including the 3 of them, there are 11 people in total. Those 2 are missing. Su Yang glanced at their faces and found that several of them had already started to sleep. Fatty number 6 was staring at the ceiling in a daze. Number 5 Johan and number 7 Kong Fixu were sitting next to each other, telling some joke that made the latter giggle. As if she was aware of the gazes coming at her, Kong Fixu tucked the ends of her hair behind her ears and gave Su Yang a charming look. Fox Charmer. Su Yang found that her charm was indeed amazing, and it was extremely lethal to a boy like Johan, who was at his passionate age. Her every frown and smile can make him fall in love with her. If he was obsessed with her for another 2 days, Kong Fixu would not say no even if he asked him to die. This kind of woman is very dangerous, at least 10 times more dangerous than Guo Xiaoun. Subtly making people indulge in the land of tenderness, look at Johan's eyes, his gesticulating, like a dog. Sun Wei leaned close and started saying bad things about him. Eat your bread and don't gossip about others behind your back. Su Yang said. I heard everything. You just called Kong Fixu a vixen. Sun Wei said seriously. Su Yang. He continued to scan the area and found that Cheng Yura was indeed not in the church. Who is that man? Su Yang felt that no one was missing. Could it be that he had encountered a ghost? At this time, he noticed that Xiang Hao was doing push-ups with his palms on the cardboard. Seeing this action, I suddenly remembered that when I first arrived in the town, there were 2 people who were martial artists. Guo Bing. Su Yang stood up with a loud noise, his pupils suddenly shrinking. Yu and Sun Wei stopped what they were doing at the same time and looked at Su Yang, who had a very strong reaction. What's wrong with you? Sun Wei patted him. I'll go take a shower first. Su Yang threw the food into the trash can and walked towards the bathroom. Turning on the shower, Su Yang recalled the news he had just heard and was shocked. When speaking, Guo Bing was very lazy, claiming that he had been doing tasks at the dock and had not been anywhere. He went to the dock tonight and saw that the workload was indeed heavy. And the progress bar doesn't lie, he did complete the task. Kong Fixu said that she saw Guo Bing in front of the court. A map of the town appeared in Su Yang's mind. The court is located above the bank, and to the west of the bank is the city square. If number 9 was killed by Guo Bing, then why did Sun Wei see someone who looked like me? Su Yang was very confused. Could it be that the 2 wolves acted at the same time, and one wolf saw the other wolf killing someone, and then hid? Su Yang felt his thoughts becoming more and more confused. No, if he wanted to hide, there would be people within 100 meters. He couldn't hide. At this moment, Su Yang suddenly remembered something. He quickly dried his body, put on his clothes, and ran to the center of the church to look at the map. The fingertip was pointed at the church, slowly moved to the left, and then suddenly stopped. The old pub is also on this road. If Kong Fixu didn't lie, then number 3 was most likely killed by Guo Bing. Guo Bing is a wolf. And judging from the way he hinted at other people's identities, still an assassin wolf. That's right, number 3 didn't die 10 minutes before the police were called, but 1 hour before the police were called. The murderer passed by the courthouse after killing someone, and then returned to the dock to complete his mission. In this case, isn't number 14 being wrongly accused? Su Yang frowned. The good guys are in a bad situation. With 3 good guys dead and the werewolves still in full force, the good camp is in an extremely passive position. The werewolf has already framed me once today, and I don't think he will appear again in the near future. So their next target must be Yu, who also carries a gun. As long as she is killed, the good guys will never win. Su Yang felt full of a sense of crisis. So many things happened on the first day. Only fragmented information was obtained at the meeting. Everyone is hiding, and no one tells the whole story. The assassin has obtained the identity of number 11. Another person will definitely die in the next meeting. Should I tell Yu this news? Su Yang rubbed his eyebrows. At this moment, a fragrant breeze suddenly blew from behind. Handsome guy, is your news important? Tell me. Su Yang turned his head suddenly and saw Kong Feixiu looking at him with her arms folded across her chest. You scared me. It turned out to be Sister Shuet. Su Yang pretended to be frightened and patted his chest in shock. Am I that scary? Hey! Kong Feixiu moved closer and closer, and the two of them were almost sticking together. Su Yang glanced at Johan and found that he was sleeping with his legs spread out, smacking his lips and laughing from time to time. Sister Shuet is as beautiful as a fairy. I have never seen anyone as beautiful as you. I am just a little surprised. Su Yang smiled slightly. Your little mouth is so sweet, can I have a taste, Sister Shuet? Kong Feixiu licked her rosy lips, looking extremely charming. It's my honor. Su Yang came forward with a smile. Just when their lips were about to touch, Kong Feixiu gently pushed Su Yang away and giggled, you little greedy ghost. Su Yang watched her return to her seat and lie down, and the smile on his face disappeared completely. I actually forgot about her. She clearly saw Guo Bing's movements but didn't beat him to death. In the end, she even changed her words and said she was mistaken. Su Yang frowned. It was impossible for Yu and Sun Wei to fail to notice such an obvious loophole. But the two of them didn't say a word about this. Could it be that they have other plans? Su Yang shook his head. He felt like he was thinking too much and his head was hurting a bit. Then he found a place to lie down and sleep. 7 o'clock the next morning. When the early morning sunshine is particularly bright, shining golden rays through the window, warm and comfortable. Su Yang opened his eyes, rubbed them, and got up to wash. Just as he came out of the bathroom, he suddenly heard a scream from outside. Yu Ro is missing. She didn't come back at night. Number 13 Wang Yao said anxiously. Maybe he went to the bathroom. The fat man yawned. No, her bed was next to mine. I didn't see her when I got up in the middle of the night, and I didn't see her when I woke up in the morning. Wang Yao shook her head. What are you yelling about so early in the morning? Guo Bing walked out with his strong body like an iron tower. Click. A Browning 1911 was suddenly pointed at Guo Bing's head. Yu Yu's eyes were filled with murderous intent, and she asked coldly, tell me, where is the body? Chapter 25. When Guo Bing saw the black gun barrel in front of him, his face showed no emotion at all. There wasn't even a hint of nervousness on his face. He raised his hands above his head and said, isn't it bad to brandish swords and guns so early in the morning? Stop talking nonsense. Where is the body? Yu Yu's voice gradually turned cold. I don't know what you are talking about. I haven't seen Cheng Yura all night. Guo Bing shrugged, looking innocent. You are lying. You clearly had a tryst with Cheng Yura in the red light district last night. Yu Yu's voice suddenly rose. Wow! As soon as these words were spoken, everyone's expression changed immediately. No wonder Cheng Yura went out shortly after the bell rang. It turns out she went out for a secret meeting with a coward like you. Johan said angrily. You still have the mind to do this in the death game, aren't you afraid of encountering wolves? Asked the fat man. He is a wolf, of course I'm not afraid. The thin man number 10 said slowly. Where's the evidence? Guo Bing was fearless and not panicked. Number 8, number 16, and I all saw it. You still want to quibble? Yu Yu moved her pistol closer and pointed the barrel directly at his forehead. I can testify. Sun Wei stood up and said. Su Yang also took a step forward. Although he didn't say anything, his attitude was enough to prove everything. At this point, Guo Bing spread his hands and said, okay, I admit that I had an affair with her, so what? You rely on your martial arts skills to threaten women. What's the difference between you and a beast? Yu Yu pulled the safety pin with her thumb. Don't slander me. How can it be called coercion if we both agree to it? Guo Bing glanced at Johan and said teasingly, doesn't he also want to have S*X with Kong Feixiu? He just has the desire but not the courage. Johan's thoughts were exposed, his face flushed red, and he shouted, you're talking nonsense, I don't have such an idea. After saying that, he secretly glanced at Kong Feixiu and found that the latter just frowned and didn't say anything, so he secretly breathed a sigh of relief. I'll give you one last chance. Where is the body? Yu Yu asked word by word. After I had a tryst with him, she left first. I came out of the red light district 5 minutes later than her. How would I know where she went? Guo Bing explained. She didn't go back to the church all night. Who else but you would have the chance to kill her? Yu Yu's face was full of suspicion. The reason why she didn't shoot at the first moment was simple. She is the sheriff. If she shoots and kills the wrong person, she will die too. Therefore, she would not shoot until she was absolutely sure. Many people went out in the middle of the night, and they are all suspects, said Guo Bing. Who? Number 1, number 7, number 4, no 16. Guo Bing spoke slowly. You're still lying when you're about to die. Yu Yu was filled with murderous intent and his finger suddenly touched the trigger. However, at this moment, a beeping sound suddenly came from my ear. There's a bomb. I have a bomb on me, the fat man suddenly shouted. Bang! Yu Yu was distracted by the fat man, and the bullet grazed Guo Bing's ear. Ah! Screams echoed in front of the church, and people suddenly became chaotic. Guo Bing took the opportunity to blend into the crowd and escape, and Yu Yu immediately chased after him. Su Yang looked at the time bomb on the fat man's chest, and saw red, blue, and yellow lines wrapped around it. There is also a timer at the center of the bomb. It shows above, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Bomb King. 3 words suddenly appeared in Su Yang's mind. When there are many people, it is a good time for Bomb Wolf to attack, which is why you cannot gather in groups. Help! The fat man was as anxious as an ant on hot pan, running around like crazy. Don't stick to me, don't pass the bomb to me. Johan was so scared when he saw the fat man following him. Don't get close to me, I don't want to die. Wang Yao's face turned pale and he ran as fast as he could. The fat man was out of breath after running a few steps. He gasped and said, I can't die. My identity is very important. The crowd didn't listen to what he said at all. They just ran wildly, wishing they could get 100 meters away from him. The fat man sat down on the ground, holding onto the corner of the fountain, and cried, I'm a detective, I'm still useful. He was not good at sports and had poor physical strength, so how could he catch up with these strong people? There was a dripping sound next to his ears, like the god of hell calling for his life, and the fat man was extremely desperate. He suddenly regretted why he had to hide in the crowd. Wouldn't it be better to hide in the church? But there is no medicine for regret in the world. He looked at the bomb on his chest and tried hard to pull it out. Get off me, the fat man said hysterically. However, after trying for a long time, it was of no use. The bomb seemed to have merged with his flesh and blood, and they were indistinguishable from each other. The fat man gave up. He wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and raised his head weakly. The sky is so blue. Looking at the medieval British-style buildings, he regretted that he had never travelled once in his lifetime. He devoted his youth to his work. In the end, he was left alone, without a wife or children, and with only a string of cold numbers in his savings. He couldn't help but ask, what is the purpose of living? At this moment, a handsome face appeared before my eyes. You. The fat man was stunned for a moment and looked at Su Yang with confusion. Everyone else was running away in fear, but he stuck close to him. Why is this? Do you remember who stuck to you? Su Yang squatted in front of him, looking at the bomb on his body. 2 minutes and 35 seconds left. I don't remember. There were a lot of people there, and we were squeezed together. The fat man smiled bitterly and shook his head. Give me the bomb. Su Yang reached out and touched his arm. The next moment, the bomb miraculously transferred to Su Yang's chest. You are. The fat man was stunned. The sudden surprise of survival made him confused. You are still useful, of course you can't die. Su Yang glanced in the direction of the city square and rushed out. Hey, you're going to die, the fat man stood up and shouted with an incredible look on his face. He has experienced a lot of human warmth and coldness in his life, and has also seen a lot of darkness in human nature. But I never thought that in the death game, someone would choose to sacrifice himself for others. Su Yang's running figure became taller and taller in his mind. I won't die. Su Yang waved his hand without looking back, those who died are the ones who deserved to die. The fat man stood still and watched him go away until he turned into a small black dot. He really? Wu Yang shook his head, not knowing whether to cry or laugh. But my heart is full of gratitude. Su Yang ran all the way. Although his physical fitness was not as good as that of professional athletes, he had been exercising over the years. Every year in the physical examination, I always get full marks in the 1,500 meter race. Chasing a woman is more than enough. Ding ding. The sound of bombs is getting more and more rapid, which means that the countdown is about to end. Su Yang looked down. 1 minute 22 seconds. Number 6 doesn't know who has posted a message on him, but if I were the bomb wolf, I would definitely stay away from the crowd after placing the bomb. And Kong Feixiu is the person farthest away from the crowd. Su Yang has been paying attention to the movements of the crowd in order to prevent anyone from taking advantage of the situation and doing something bad secretly. The good guys are now at a disadvantage, and the werewolves are still fully staffed, so he has to help the good guys play. Taking the bomb can make you more good people, but neutral and below people don't think so. They will definitely beat me to death for passing on the bomb. Therefore, Su Yang must risk his life to attract hatred. In addition, he also wanted to take this opportunity to find out Kong Feixiu's identity and talent. After running for another minute, they arrived at the city square and saw Johan pulling Kong Feixiu to squat on the ground to rest from afar. Found you. Su Yang curled his lips and suddenly increased his speed. Johan was panting with his tongue hanging out like a dog cooling off. He turned around and saw a man running towards him with a bomb. The murderous look in his eyes gave him goosebumps. He immediately grabbed Kong Feixiu and ran away, shouting, "Su Yang, FK your mother." If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you're notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.